Freedom, man. That's what it's all about. You've got to groove on freedom, like the good book says.
Welcome. You are listening to What on Earth is Happening. This show will discuss the topics of human consciousness, mind control, natural law, the occult, and all issues that affect the freedom of the people of Earth. What on Earth is Happening will endeavor to shine light upon the darkness of our world and to offer empowering solutions to the problems we face as humanity approaches its critical moment of choice. And now, here is your host, Mark Passio.
I'm your host, Mark Passio. My website, whatonearthishappening.com. Ladies and gentlemen, government is slavery. We're coming at you live today, streaming live on whatonearthishappening.com/show. Simulcasting on Facebook, YouTube, and Vimeo Live. Today is January 27th, 2019. The show is live every Sunday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And we have a great show lined up for you here today. I'm actually going to be getting into the reasons for my hiatus from live broadcasting and talking about what I have been doing during the so-called, the quote-unquote downtime during my hiatus from live broadcasting, the projects that I have been up to. This is probably going to be really the first What on Earth is Happening live broadcast that is entirely or mostly or entirely about me. And I'm doing this to show people that for me, the great work never stops, and it did not stop during my hiatus from broadcasting. So, I want to explain to people like the type of commitment that this type of a lifestyle takes and how it's like never something that you put down permanently, even if certain mitigating circumstances led me to have to put live podcasting, live radio broadcasting and podcasting down temporarily. And during the interim, I stayed very, very active and very, very busy. So we're going to be getting into that today. Also, I'm going to be showing people the donation gifts area of my website a little bit later on. I'm going to be also showing them the donate page on What on Earth is Happening, because I want people really to fully understand that, support is what keeps me doing this, and it's what keeps this show running and on the air. So many people were so generous during, my hiatus for helping me to establish the living conditions that I have, and for helping me to get this show up off the ground with very generous donations, both monetarily and technological donations. So I want to emphasize that a little bit later on in the show before we go off the air, before we actually take your calls in the third hour of the show. I'll be taking calls in hour number 3. Calls, of course, will be taken on Discord. You can get that information on whatonearthishappening.com/show. So before I start getting into the topic for today, which is what have I been doing during my hiatus from live broadcasting, I want to let everybody know that I will be speaking at Acapulco 2019 in Acapulco, Mexico. So the conference is February 14th through 17th, 2019. I will be giving my workshop one day earlier than the main kickoff of the conference on February 13th. So I did finalize my title card for my main stage presentation. If we can cut over to the laptop view, my presentation at Acapulco 2019 is entitled Anarchy and the Occult Part 2. This is a continuation of the presentation that I gave last year in 2018, which was called Anarchy and the Occult. This year it is subtitled Religion versus Initiation. So I'm very excited to be presenting on the main stage with other great speakers such as David Icke, Max Egan, many others. You could check it all out at Acapulco.com. And I will also, as I said, be giving a one-time only special exclusive workshop at Acapulco 2019. This will be a culmination of a lot of the research and former presentations that I've given regarding the occult, specifically occult traditions throughout time, and specifically how occultism in general is all attempting to teach natural law to the initiates of the tradition if it is properly understood and used correctly, used in a moral capacity. Again, there is such a thing as dark occultism, in which this knowledge is not used to uplift humanity but to subvert and control humanity, but it is all an understanding of the same body of knowledge. So this is going to be called Demystifying the Occult Revisited, Initiation into the Mysteries. Okay, an exclusive one-time only workshop, and it's taking place February 13th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. This is an all-day event as a breakout area from Acapulco. It's going to be $140 to attend. There will be 2 4-hour sessions, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., then a lunch break from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., and then from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. will be the second 4-hour section. So you can get more information on the entire conference and my specific workshop at Acapulco.com. And you can click into that the tickets area through whatonearthishappening.com. Right at the top of whatonearthishappening.com, there is a link with the Acapulco banner, and you can click that. And folks, I just want to emphasize the importance of my workshop. This is my main source of any type of donations or income for the conference. Okay, so really nothing else is coming in any other capacity from me going out there. So if you are so inclined to want to receive this information or simply to support my work, please do. If you're at Acapulco, come out and attend the Demystifying the Occult Revisited workshop. I guarantee you I will certainly make it worth your while, with a tremendous amount of information on occult knowledge presented at that workshop. So those are my main announcements. I think we'll jump right into the material because there's going to be a lot to cover today, okay? You know, I want to not only tell people what I've been doing, but I want to show them some things. I may even get into, showing people the Founders website, my anarchist hardcore punk band, talk about a little bit about, the shows that we've done, and maybe even play some of the music of the Founders live on the show today. So, a lot to do, so let's jump right in. So this broadcast is, as I've already said, is going to be largely about me, if not entirely about me. But again, we have to take that in context, because you have to understand that this is a job that you never really step away from once you start doing it. And I think that's why a lot of people are disconcerted into getting involved in the great work. They know it's a lifetime commitment. They know that really this is, as opposed to getting involved in the occult, whereas there is an out to that if you don't know, quote unquote, where the bodies are buried, and you haven't gone deeply enough into it. There is a getting out of it. There is a walking away from it. Not so much with the great work, with doing the true great work, the one great work. It is something that follows you no matter where you go, because you cannot unlearn what you know. Once you know it and you have a moral responsibility to convey it, that work never leaves your life. It is always there for you to do. And so, during my hiatus, there were reasons that I needed to take the break, and I did do some things to get myself in a better position personally. However, doing the great work never stopped. So, this is a image of me, like very, very shortly before I went off the air. Okay, this was actually taken during a promo that I was doing for a conference that I spoke at Free Your Mind for at WMMR Studios here in Philadelphia. I was interviewed for the conference, and this is what I've been using as my biopic, in recent years since this was taken. I think it conveys like the essence of what I do. I get on the air in front of a microphone and I speak to people about what I have come to learn from a point of moral obligation to help people to understand what's really going on in our world. And I do so unapologetically, and I do it in a way that a lot of people take offense to, because I don't sugarcoat my words and am never going to. This is always going to be my presentation style, because this is how I really am in real life. And if you don't believe that, ask people who know me personally, and they'll tell you pretty much my presentation on the airwaves is how I am in real life, how I speak and dress, etc. Except I really kind of even tone it down a little bit on the airwaves for people, believe it or not. And the people who know me in real life will testify to that. So let's move on to the next slide. I stayed very active in the activism community here in Philadelphia. And, this is a shot of me taken at a monthly, they do bi-monthly meetings now, meeting of Liberty on the Rocks, Philadelphia. My friend John hosts this event, and it's always great getting out there and talking to people who are concerned citizens and understand that, freedom is under attack. The name Liberty on the Rocks is kind of a double entendre, meaning that, liberty is in a lot of trouble. It's on the rocks. And, it's we usually meet at pubs or bars, and talk over a drink. So, there you have, talking about liberty over the rocks, like with a drink, clever name, great activist group. I gave my Second Amendment Part 2 presentation, actually both Second Amendment presentations, Part 1 and 2, at meetings of Liberty on the Rocks, Philadelphia. Definitely check them out if you're in the area. Great activist group. I've stayed involved in personal activities that I like to do myself. So that includes shooting. Here's a picture of me with a rifle down at a local gun range. Tried to stay, keep my skills sharp in marksmanship. Don't get an opportunity to go out to outdoor ranges as much as I would like to. Certainly that would help a lot more. Used to go shooting a lot with my buddy Walt at outdoor ranges. Haven't made a lot of time for that recently. Kind of been doing it in the city when I can. Trying to keep physical skills sharp in addition to mental, spiritual understanding. We have to keep the body in order. This is part of the initiatory steps of the mystery school traditions, of the traditions of the initiate into the occult. Part of it is activating the physical body. I can't emphasize it enough. Probably going to do a whole show on holistic health coming up in a future broadcast of What on Earth is Happening. So, I'm moving on to the next slide. Part of the physical activity is martial arts. And I was very active in martial arts prior to leaving the airwaves during my hiatus, prior to my hiatus. And, I stayed involved in the martial arts and martial arts community here in Philadelphia during the hiatus. Here I'm doing some JKD, which is Jeet Kune Do, the system that Bruce Lee pioneered and essentially invented, with a couple of local activists and local martial arts practitioners here out in a park in South Philadelphia. Here's another shot doing some martial arts with just some younger individuals who kind of joined in to the session that some of us in the group were having. They saw us doing martial arts practice and came over, wanted to join us, and we were like, sure, come over and we'll teach you a few things. So this was kind of like an organic, coming together of younger people from the local neighborhood. We were just out on a nice sunny day, doing some martial arts in the park, and people took notice and were interested and came over, and that's the kind of stuff that we try to do as much as possible. Of course, the great work takes precedence, and a lot of time, there's not as much time as I would like for these activities, but I try to do it whenever I can. People don't know this, but I'm going to show you something that I'm somewhat proud of. I'm a pretty decent bowler. I don't usually toot my horn about this, but, I could probably have been a professional bowler if I wanted to. Okay. And I love bowling. I love it as an activity. I love it as a sport. I love it as a activity to get my head in a certain space, in the zone, so to speak. It's a relaxing activity to me, and I enjoy it. And I enjoy doing it with friends, or I enjoy going out to the alley alone and just rolling and, trying to get better. And I don't practice this nearly as much as I could or should. And this is a score the last time I went bowling, basically, or, maybe a couple of times before the last time. But that's a pretty impressive score. I choked there in the ninth frame. as you can see. But not a bad effort there. It's probably a score that most professional bowlers roll, even on a good day. So, again, I mention this not to even brag, but I mention this because I want people to understand I have given up a lot of what I want to be doing with my time to do this educational outreach. And what I'm trying to convey here to people is, yes, this will take you away from what you want to do personally, okay? The great work will take you away from tasks that you want to do for yourself, for your own personal enjoyment, okay? And that's the compromise. That's the sacrifice that has to be made if you really want to convey truth to people, if you really want to convey what real freedom is to people in a wider way, okay? So, moving back to the slide presentation, this is an image of me sitting at my old desk in my old apartment that I shared with a friend during my hiatus from live broadcasting, where I'm basically making material for my gifts store. Some great gifts there given to me by Brandon Martin, the t-shirt and hat from Skatopia. And, I'm basically making, material for the gifts area of my website here. And, this was a difficult time period. I wasn't in a physical space that was optimal for me. And I moved 3 times during my hiatus, physically moved living space 3 times, okay? That is, and still made the time to do all the other things that I did that I'm going to show you. So that's an impressive task in and of itself. People will understand how stressful moving can be. And to do it 3 times in basically a year and a half period was no fun task for me. That took up a lot of the time during the hiatus as well. But again, as I'm saying, the great work never stopped, okay? This is me talking with people on stage at my Fake Ass Christians seminar that I gave here in Philadelphia. Being on the microphone and in front of people has always been something that I gravitated naturally toward. I've been in bands since I was about 15 years of age, okay? Singing on stage in bands as the lead vocalist. And, it's something that I think a lot of people don't do this work because they're very self-conscious of their own talking voice, their speaking voice, and being in front of people publicly. Public speaking is like one of the things that people fear more than death, believe it or not. Studies have shown, psychological studies show people fear this more than almost any other activity, including the process of dying. They're not as afraid of as getting up in front of people and speaking their mind, and this I think is culturally instilled. We have to lose that fear, and we have to, basically step into doing the right thing, no matter how much it makes us uncomfortable. This is part of why so few people do the great work. They're still worried about what other people think about them. They're still in this fear-based mindset of, what if people don't agree? What if people, don't like how I present it or what I say? You have to shed all those fears. If I let that stuff control me, okay, I wouldn't do any work. I would just constantly be worried about what other people think. Now, I am going to say some critiques of people who do complain about other people's work who are actually doing something while they're not doing anything. It's something that I want to revisit today because that goes on all the time, and it should be addressed by the actual activist community who are really taking measures to reach out to people and do things, okay? I think you get entitled and have a right to really start to complain once you're doing a certain amount. And people can take exception to that and say they don't agree with that. That's how I view it personally. I mean, I think, I look at where the comment or critique is coming from as much as I listen to what it's saying. Okay, I try to see if it has merit based on what the person is actually saying first and foremost. Then I look at what have they been doing, and 99.9% of the time, you'll do an internet search for the person who has a complaint and says you should do it differently, and they're doing nothing themselves. Absolutely zero, nothing whatsoever, So, this presentation here today is really about how much work I have done in a time when many other people have said, where's Mark at? He's not doing anything. No, I wasn't doing live broadcasts. It's not that I wasn't doing anything. You'll see how much work I've actually been doing. Okay. And this is like downtime for me, where it's probably the least productive that I've been during my public speaking career. Okay. And it's still a formidable amount of work, much more than most people are ever doing in their entire lives, let alone just during a hiatus from live broadcasting. Okay. So moving on to the next slide, back just as I was pretty much going off the airwaves, I had conceived of getting involved in a new musical project. And I've always liked hard and heavy music. I've never really been a fan of pop, top 40, adult contemporary type stuff. Like, I like old school heavy metal. I like old school punk rock. I used to like death metal a lot. I mean, I still listen to some of it, but I like anything that's heavy guitar driven, so stoner rock, doom metal, punk, fast punk, hardcore punk, etc. Okay, this is the type of stuff I grew up on. Okay, to be quite honest. Okay, a lot of people don't gravitate toward that kind of music, and that's fine. It's a taste. There is no truth about whether it's good or not. It's subjective taste. Okay, so back in when I went off the air in 2016, a little bit before then, I had come up with the idea to form a hardcore punk band, just like some fast punk, heavy riffs, a little bit of a metal edge to it that would talk about issues of freedom, okay, and do it in a very in-your-face way, much more so than I would do on What on Earth is Happening, like getting up in people's face about it and just speaking the truth plainly and openly in street language. Okay, and this morphed into the Founders. The name is obviously an homage to the founding fathers of America, but it's way more than that. Founders doesn't mean that you've found something, that you have discovered something. It means you've established something. It means that you have laid a foundation for something to come in the future. So this is about the new founders of a new society, of a new world, if you will, okay? One that is based in true freedom, one that is based in voluntary cooperation, one that is based in true spirituality, one that is based in anarchy, in true anarchy, okay? No masters, no slaves form of anarchy. Okay, so you could check out the Founders at thefounders.us. Okay, I'm going to be going to that website a little bit later, and I'll be showing you some photos of live performances, maybe play a live video, maybe play some studio recordings. Okay, we'll do that in a little bit. So the band was formed during the hiatus, and we did a lot of playing. I mean, we played a lot of shows, okay? I'm going to be going through the presentations that I did live, either here in Philadelphia or at other events. Okay. So, shortly after I went off the air, my first presentation, Demystifying the Occult Part 2, Satanism and the Dark Occult. So I gave this at the Ethical Society of Philadelphia. It was given February 26th, 2016, right here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Jay Parker, my friend and fellow researcher on topics of occultism, opened up this day. It was a full day event, and he gave a presentation there as well. So it went really great. You can watch all of these presentations on whatonearthishappening.com. You can go to the videos section there. You can go to my YouTube channel, and you can watch all of this for free. All of my information is always eventually comes out for free on my website. Okay. Former shows that I do are always in the podcast section. That's the archive. Okay. I know a lot of people don't like the word podcast because it came out of Apple and the iPod. It's a colloquialism that has come into general usage, and people know what it means. It's a broadcast that you could watch after it was originally aired, and it's archived digitally online, usually in an XML feed, etc. Okay, an RSS feed. We have to just accept this is what it has become called, whether it's audio or video. People can say show archive, vidcast, whatever you want to call it is fine. I'm not basically going to change what I've had up on my website forever just to name it different terminology. I call it the whatonearthishappening.com podcast. podcast, okay? What on Earth is Happening podcast. You can go up to the podcast page on the website to get archives of this broadcast. Okay, so, that was the first presentation back. Demystifying the Occult, Part 2, Satanism and the Dark Occult. You can go to What on Earth is Happening, and you can watch that for free. Again, all my video presentations, okay, after they're edited and they're made available on the gifts area of my website first, usually exclusively up there for about 3 months or so, maybe a little bit longer, and then it goes to the YouTube channel and my website for free. Okay. I'm also going to be archiving things on some other video platforms, namely Vimeo, BitChute, and DTube. Right now, those are the platforms that I've chosen to mirror content to, in addition to YouTube, because YouTube, under the satanic direction of Google, have become extraordinarily draconian and are actively involved in censorship. So I don't want to put all my eggs in the basket of YouTube. I want to start mirroring content to other video sites, and I started that with the first podcast last week. It was mirrored to not only YouTube, but Facebook, Vimeo, BitChute, and DTube. And that will continue into the foreseeable future. So moving to the next slide, at Free Your Mind 4, I gave the presentation over 2 days, The Unholy Feminine, Neo-Feminism and the Satanic Epi-Eugenics Agenda. I think this clocked in at around 6 hours total, close to 6 hours, maybe even longer. I'm not exactly sure. It was about 6 hours, I think. And, this is one that was received extremely well, and I've gotten so many good reviews and feedback from this presentation on neo-feminism as being a part of the satanic agenda to basically breed out the characteristics of human beings that the elite ruling class do not want in human beings moving forward to the next generations. And I'll tell you who gave me the best positive feedback on this presentation: women. Women have written to me in emails and just said, thank you so much for doing this work in explaining the specific social engineering and mind control tactics that are directly targeted toward women and directed against their psyches, their spirituality, their mindset. So women have actually been leveling the greatest praise for the Unholy Feminine presentation. Again, available on whatonearthishappening.com in the gifts area. Now, see, the theme that I'm bringing up here is you have to understand how much work I did during the interim, okay? And just compare it to what other people do, which in many cases is nothing, but they complain a lot. And, to the next slide is going to talk about, the 14-year relationship that I had with my former life partner, Barb, which we separated during this time. That took place in early 2016 as well. It was a very difficult life event happening for me. I don't really get into my personal life very much on What on Earth is Happening. That's not what the show is about. Okay. But, to basically have a relationship and, as far as, the romantic part of the relationship as a life partner is stunning. It's a very striking thing that happens to you. You don't expect it. And, it was, for the most part, a mutual decision. But in general, I'm not going to get into the underlying reasons because this is very personal for me. And but what I do want to say is after a time period, the friendship was intact, and we have still stayed very good friends. Barb has supported me in my work like almost no other, and made it possible for me to do this work in the early years of me doing it full time. Okay. So, we have remained friends. I was just actually hanging out with Barb last night. She'll probably come over and hang out with us and the crew after the show ends today. Okay. So, it's a difficult process of going through when you're separating from a relationship that you become very accustomed to and used to, and also deciding to physically move, okay, to a location that was not my home for the last many years, over 14 years. Okay, so this is basically really all I want to say about the breakup, but just say that we did resolve our issues regarding our friendship, and we are still very good friends to this day. And that being said, I also am still very active in the lives of my fur children, my two little chihuahuas that me and Barb have as our life friends. If you switch over to the slide, there's Wah and Cheddar, and they're just tremendous. My love of animals has been something that has always been there and persists through whatever life events happen to happen. So these guys are still a big part of my life as well. So after the breakup, I really wanted to try to move things into the area of helping to get physical items into people's hands and helping to support my work by doing this, okay? Because I had really only been depending on just donations up to this point. And, I wanted to try to step the effort up to bring in some resources so that I can move this to the next level. It was about at this time that I conceived of the What on Earth is Happening video platform, okay? Obviously, I was looking into software to do it, and I was looking into the feasibility of me being able to do it myself, just like I did when I broadcasted audio only. I did a test episode with a friend, with actually Tim Smith, who I'm going to talk about in a moment, who basically came up with and organized the Free Mind Fest in Philadelphia. And the episode that I did with Tim, I never aired. I scratched it because the production quality was not where I wanted it. And upon realizing that I wouldn't just be able to continue broadcasting and doing the show live myself with the production values that I wanted to uphold, I just decided to take a hiatus, bring in some resources and donation money to help fund it the way that I wanted to do it. Because, see, I operate under a pretty simple life strategy. And the life strategy that I try to operate under is, if it's worth doing, do it right. Do it all the way. Do it up all the way, okay? Don't do it half-ass. Do it right. Make it look good, make it aesthetic, deliver it properly. Okay. And I think that's a thing that a lot of people don't do, especially live broadcasters. They hit the broadcast button, they point the camera at themselves, whether it's a webcam or a phone cam, and they go, I'm just going to talk off the cuff. Okay. They do very little in the way of preparation. They do very little in the way of pre-production. Okay. And it comes off that way. You see it in the end result quality. Okay. And I think that we would be a lot better at delivering the message and getting it across to people if we become technologically literate. I've talked about this. It's going to be an ongoing theme. Technological literacy, really understanding how to do something, understanding how to do it with best practices. In other words, the right way. This is part of learning in technology. You learn what's called best practices. Okay. So I think this is something I want to cover in future episodes. And again, as I said last week, maybe even a future seminar that people can attend, and you will get actual, learning and practice with technological programs from me, having done it in my own experience over many years. And I think that's one of the things that, we could really teach people more than anything. If you have knowledge through direct experience, that's so important to convey to other people, especially if they can use it as a life skill to get the message of the great work out. So with that being said, one of the things I wanted to do is build a secondary site that would be something that showcases all of the works that I've done, okay? DVDs, flash drives, T-shirts for promotion, okay, stickers, etc. for promotion, and other items, where people can go from all over the world and make a donation. Okay, it's not purchasing something, because I don't have a merchant account. All I do for What on Earth is Happening is accept donations. There is no commerce happening on any area of my work. I don't even monetize my YouTube channel. And people hear this and they're like horrified. Why don't you monetize your YouTube channel? I don't want any tax money going into the government and control system and pedophiles that are behind all of that. Okay? I try to avoid taxation, the theft of taxation, the slavery of taxation, to the extent that that is within my power, to be quite honest. okay? And I don't care who knows it, who hears it, whatever, okay? I am not contributing to child molestation, murder, sacrifice, etc. I know this is going on. I don't think I know it's going on. I know it's going on, okay? So I'm not contributing my energy to that to the extent that is within my power, okay? So that being said, all I do with What on Earth is Happening is accept personal donations from individual to individual. I don't do business as. I have no limited liability corporation. I have no tax exempt corporation or status or foundation. Okay? There is none of that. It is Mark Passio accepting personal donations from other individuals. The end. Okay? There is no organizational donations. You cannot write a check to What on Earth is Happening. Okay? All you can do is send funds as a personal donation to me. That is how I take in all of the resources that I do for What on Earth is Happening. And that's all I ever have done. Okay? Contrary to what other people will tell you. Okay? So donation gifts, I used some open source shopping cart software and modified it because it's free and open. And that's what free and open software means, that you're free to modify it for your own personal usage. Even if you want to redistribute it, you can do it like that. I can even maybe show some other activists in the freedom community how I did these small modifications to this open source code and basically turned it into being able to accept personal donations instead of sending it to a merchant account system, instead of linking it into some type of a merchant account payment gateway. Okay. And it's been working quite well. It doesn't work like a normal e-commerce site because it's not. And I'm going to take people through that later on in the show. But donation gifts has been very successful. People have been very generous and have really said that they're very happy with the quality of the items that they get from here. And it helps to get the word out. You know, you cannot imagine how many copies of presentations I have sent all over the world, to every country in the world. Okay? Getting the word out to people that I never would have met otherwise, that I never would have known. Okay? This is a reach out effort, donation gifts. Okay? You can go to gifts.whatonearthishappening.com, but I really suggest, instead of even just typing that in, just click the gifts tab on the website or hit the gifts button, because it's going to give you a little caveat at the beginning, as I'm going to show you later, that you have to have a PayPal account or you have to have a Bitcoin wallet to donate. These are the only ways I accept personal donations: paypal.me and Bitcoin. So, you know, if people know how Bitcoin works, it's pretty easy to make a donation there. My Bitcoin wallet address is right on the donate page. I'm going to show people that later. But you have to have one of these too, okay? I don't accept direct credit card. I don't accept direct bank transfer, okay? You could do that indirectly through PayPal, but you need the PayPal account first. So I just want people to understand that, and I'll show you how the whole process works later on in the show. During the hiatus, I also, very shortly after I set up What on Earth is Happening donation gifts, I helped a friend start a little side business that he wanted to begin with t-shirts and some health items. And some concealed carry items, firearms concealed carry. It's called 1776 Gear. My buddy Steven started this, and we basically put up a website where you can get t-shirts, and you could also, we have affiliate programs set up where you could do some concealed carry gear and some health items. Very rudimentary shopping website for some patriot apparel. You know, some freedom loving people apparel insofar as t-shirts go. Pretty simple, only a few items. Might be expanding it in the future. We'll have to, you know, talk to my buddy and see where we want to go with it. But if you're inclined to check it out, you can go to 1776gear.us and check that project out that I helped get up off the ground during the broadcasting hiatus. Also, as I mentioned before, I spoke at an event that my friend Tim Smith set up, which was called Free Mind Fest. This happened at One Art Community Center in Philadelphia, which is kind of in West Philly. and great place, great people, good outdoor venue. This was like a music festival with speakers from the activist freedom community speaking during the day, and then they had bands play all night into the night. So this was September of 2016, in late September, and was pretty successful. Great participants, some good music. They had a vegan truck run by Vinny, who debuted his vegan cooking truck at the event, and it was a semi-decent turnout. I think it needed a little bit more promotion, but in general, it was a very fun time. There you see the One Art Community Center with the great artwork. I think that's Jordan Page on stage playing for some folks. I'm not sure if it is. I think it is, and great event for a first-time event. And I gave this, I'm sorry, I'm going to go back for a moment. I didn't put the slide there because I gave the full presentation at a later time, but I gave an abridged version of Duress, Dissidence, and Deadly Force at this event, Free Mind Fest. Unfortunately, I couldn't do it with my slides because they didn't have a projector that was bright enough lumen-wise to cut through the direct sunlight during the day, and the stage just was not dark enough for that. So not having slides, I just gave a speech, and it didn't have the same type of effect as my normal slide presentations do, so I didn't really release that. We reformulated Duress, Dissonance, and Deadly Force into a longer format presentation, and I delivered that later at Ivan Oyola's event, Truth, Mind, Reality, which I'm going to talk about. So that was Free Mind Fest in the summer of 2016. And then after that, this is when the founders really started playing a lot more shows. Okay, we got into live performance a lot. Only played at a few venues. It's very difficult here in Philadelphia for music that's outside of the normal paradigm of popular culture and popular music here in Philadelphia. I would go so far as to say that the Philadelphia music scene / community is actually very close-minded. I would actually go so far as to say that. Okay, it's close-minded and not very inventive. It's not very innovative at all. Okay, it's a lot of rehashed stuff. It involves a lot of status quo thought, okay, and it involves a lot of nihilistic thought, quite frankly, okay. The founders, we come out of left field with a message of real freedom and real anarchy, and people do not know what to make of us here in this city, because this city is a leftist stronghold of communism and socialism, okay. So when we come out, projecting ideas of true anarchy and true freedom, like people are like deer in the headlights, syndrome. Okay. So, only a few places would even have us at the venues to play because they're so scared of the message. Okay. And, here's a shot of us playing on stage live at a local venue called Connie's Rick Rack. Went pretty successfully. We debuted our, as I'm going to talk about, our debut album, our debut EP, I should say, demo EP, a little bit later, actually earlier the next year in 2017. So I'll be getting more into that. Here's us into the studio. Okay, I'm cutting my vocal tracks there, and this is the EP that we released, and it was entitled "No Masters, No Slaves." This was a 6-song EP. We put this out in January of 2017. We recorded it in January of 2017. We released it, I believe it was April of 2017, and we released that in Philadelphia. It was a big debut release show that a lot of people who were at the Free Your Mind 5 conference came out to see the debut and watch see the debut of No Masters, No Slaves and watch our performance. And a lot of great people turned out. It was a really fun time. So, following that, I gave in June of 2017 the Fake Ass Christians presentation. This had been in the works really almost since the time that I stopped broadcasting. It was a very long format presentation that really talked about all of the aspects of Christianity, so-called Christianity, which have been co-opted by the church, by occult traditions, by people who are just fake Christians, that they are Christians in name only. And I went very deeply into all of these topics. It was given at Ruba Club a club that is in North Philadelphia. That this was where Free Your Mind 1 took place, actually, the first ever Free Your Mind conference. Back when I was actually involved in the organization of the conference, I, of course, was the organizer of Free Your Mind 1 and 2, handed it off to other organizers as of 3, 4, and 5, and have laid my involvement down with it since then. But this was done at the building where Free Your Mind 1 was hosted, Ruba Club, and it went very successfully. Over 100 people turned out. My friend Tracy organized this at Ruba, did a great job in doing so, and the people who turned out were very highly interested in the true great work, and I'm still friends with many of them to this day. I consider it very successful. It's, of course, available for free on whatonearthishappening.com. So you're seeing, my presentations did not really stop or slow down, okay? They kept going, and they continue to keep going. I'm still not only doing this show, but I'm planning on future presentations as well that I'll be delivering here live in Philadelphia. So at Fake Ass Christians, I made a public challenge to Pope Francis to fight me in a mixed martial arts match, okay? Tongue-in-cheek, obviously, but, not really so much. Like, if he accepted, I'd take him up on it, okay? I did this because I said, God knows that you would never be able to defeat me philosophically. You don't have a philosophical leg to stand on, pun intended. And, so I challenged him. I said, I'll give you a fighting chance, literally, to beat me at something. So let's get in the octagon and do an MMA fight. And here's a picture of me doing an eye jab toward him. Sorry to say, I'm sorry to disappoint the viewing audience, folks, but it's a sad truth that Pope Francis did not take me up on my offer to fight me directly in an MMA bout. So, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. It will not be on pay-per-view, okay? I was really looking forward to getting in there and grappling him, taking him down to the ground, doing some ground and pound, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen, So the offer is still open-ended. Anytime you're ready, I'll be here. You come into Philly, next time you're in Philly, the offer's right on the table for you. This absolute communist, Satanist, and pedophile protector, okay? The offer's still on the table there, buddy, okay? Anytime you're ready, all right? So that was Fake Ass Christians. And as I said, I moved 3 times, folks. 3 moves. It's a huge, a life event to move. And I moved 3 times, okay, during the hiatus. I'm finally in a place where I feel like I can really do some real work. And this place was not in good shape when I came here. It had work to be done upon it. And people helped me get that work done by making very generous donations so I could actually get the place in order so I could start working and put this whole show together. Okay. Here's me, all beaten up, working on the house, toolbox, looking for some stuff in the old toolbox, paint all over me, caulk all over me, breathing mask on, it was a rough time. Okay. I had to do a lot to get this place livable. And, I want to thank the people who made that possible through, their generosity. So, this was what, this was, the fall of 2017. So that's when I renovated this place, fall of 2017, and it came together very nice. I could say it's very comfortable for me, and I have a space that I can do my work. I would love it if I had one more room. I'd make it a studio, okay? We have to break this place down. I'm in my bedroom right now. Right now, I'm sitting in my bedroom. I'm sitting on the floor space where my bed is usually over, where I actually sleep at night. That's where I'm sitting right now. So I don't even have an extra room to set a studio up to do this live broadcast, okay? I don't live in a big place. I live in a half row home in South Philadelphia, an old, partially dilapidated half row home. I don't even live in a full row home, Okay, so imagine that kind of limited space that you have to make it work. You have to make it so that you could do what you need to do within that space. And that's what the setup crew comes and helps with every day. They convert my bedroom into a little makeshift TV studio. This is something that people can do. It's doable. All you got to do is learn the software, spend a little bit of money on the streaming account. It's possible. Okay, I'm going to talk about a network that I'm trying to put together, okay, a little bit later. That is all about learning how to use some technology to do the great work. So then February 2018, okay, last year, I spoke for the first time at Acapulco. Okay, so I gave Anarchy and the Occult, What Anarchists Ignore is Killing Them, was the subtitle. Highly successful presentation, a lot of interest at Acapulco, a lot of great people attended my workshop there. The workshop was on symbolism and sovereignty. I think it was Anarchy and the Occult, Sovereignty and Symbolism was what it was called. Had over 100 attendees, just great people, a lot of great questions. I'm going to do the same format this year for the workshop. It's one of the few times and places that I felt that the room was right to have questions be taken during the workshop. So not at the end. As I went through material, I took questions on the material that I just presented live. And it went great. It was done very respectfully by the attendees. And I expect no different this year. So that's how we're going to run the workshop in 2019 when I give Demystifying the Occult Revisited. So this is me on stage at Acapulco 2018, speaking in Acapulco, Mexico. Here's me addressing the crowd. They had about 1,600 total attendees. Okay, I'll bet you there was probably close to 1,000 people in the room when I spoke. So very happy with the turnout. Jeff Berwick, who hosts the event, should be proud of the work that he's done putting it together and getting the word out and getting a lot of attendees there. He's saying there's going to be like 3,000 people there this year. I mean, that's tremendous if it does work out to be that number. So, if you're there, come on out to my workshop. I guarantee you will enjoy it and gain a lot of information from it. So that's me at the actual speaker podium there. Okay. And moving on, I met some great people at Acapulco. I met G. Edward Griffin. There's me hanging out with him at our hotel room. Great guy. Shared a cab ride with him as I got off the plane in Acapulco. This year I'm taking trains and buses to Acapulco, Mexico. Ground travel. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think. A lot of people would, grimace at that, going that far of a distance by ground. But I'm actually looking forward to it because I hate flying. There's me with G. Edward Griffin, who wrote The Creature from Jekyll Island and has done countless awesome work over the years. Here's me sitting and talking at lunch with Max Egan, another one of my favorite individuals. If people aren't familiar with Max Egan, you should be, and you should get out there and listen to all of his work. So some of us are hanging out there and talking with Max and listening to some of his wisdom at a lunch break. Here's me talking to Derek Brose. Okay, Derek just spoke here in Philadelphia. Great guy, really active doing the great work. Here's him interviewing me backstage at Acapulco 2018. Here's me hanging out with some other people from Acapulco, some good friends, and we're just chilling in the backstage area, and I had a photo opportunity. Okay, so then shortly after I came back from Acapulco, I traveled out to the Phoenix area for my friend Ivan Oyola's conference, Truth, Mind, Reality. This was his first conference that he hosted along with other local activists in the Phoenix area and friends of Ivan's, and they did a fantastic job. This was one of my favorite conferences I've ever attended, actually. This happened March 10th in Phoenix, Arizona. It was a one-day event, great speakers, and organized the right way, is what I will say. Organized correctly. Best practices were used. I'll say that, okay? And here's an alternative poster for it, which was done by an artist in, I believe, the Phoenix area as well. And, he's got all the names of the speakers on there. So Lennon Honor spoke, Sonia Barrett spoke, Mark Devlin, many others. It was an awesome event. Okay. If Ivan does it again, I highly recommend people check it out and go out to Phoenix to attend, because this was a great event. It was right outside of Phoenix. I think it was in the Glendale area. It was actually in Glendale, but it's a hop, skip, and a jump from Phoenix. It's like right next door. So at this Glendale conference, Truth, Mind, Reality, I delivered the presentation called Duress, Dissidence, and Deadly Force. This is the one I had originally given at Free Mind Fest the year before. However, I really got the presentation in much better order with my slides, and added a lot of content that time did not allow for at the Free Mind Fest variant of it when I delivered it initially. So I went into a lot of detail here. Again, you can check out this presentation either on my website, YouTube, or Ivan's website at Truth, Mind, Reality. Okay, there's Ivan Oyola. We've got a shot together. Okay. The main conference organizer. He put together a tremendous team as well. So thank you to everybody for organizing this one. Okay, this is me actually delivering the Duress, Dissidence, and Deadly Force presentation at Truth, Mind, Reality. And I want to stop at this slide and say a few things, okay? On the presentation board back there, it has a image of my natural law presentation, my natural law seminar, and it talks about natural law as being the only true solution. Okay, so what I want to talk about is the people who will attack my work by saying, Mark doesn't present any solutions. He doesn't talk about solutions. He is only talking about what's wrong. Your head's up your ass, okay? You make yourself look and sound like a jackass. I don't know how much more I could possibly say it in simple terms. Okay, when people say that, that's what you sound like. That's what it makes you look like. Okay, I spent 65 shows on What on Earth is Happening talking about solutions. You know what this proves to me? To the some of the so-called viewing audience or listening audience, that you don't know how to pay attention or listen. You don't know how to take in information. And you certainly don't know how to go into the fullness of the information that you are attempting to discover or to discern. This is the concept of a little learning is a dangerous thing. Okay? People they skirt the periphery. They do not delve into the deep waters of knowledge in most cases. Okay, not a blanket statement, some do, but it is a generalized statement that this is true most of the time, okay, for most people. And another part of it is everybody wants so-called affirmative solutions, right? They want you to say what other people should be doing. What should you be doing? What should you be inventing? Okay, I am not here to tell you what you should be doing or inventing or coming up with as potential affirmative or positive solutions to any given problem of humanity. The entirety of my work is about the apophatic solution to the human condition of slavery. And apophatic means defined in the negative. It doesn't mean that I am telling people what they should be doing actively. I am explaining to people that we are enslaved because of what we are currently doing, that we have no right under natural law to continue to do. The solution that I have presented ad infinitum, to the point of nausea, okay, ad nauseum, okay, repeating myself endlessly over and over like a broken goddamn record, okay, is that the solution is to cease and desist in behaviors that we have no right to continue to take because they are in opposition to moral law. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the solution. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but that's the solution to the human condition of slavery. We need not do one other task We need to stop doing and condoning the tasks which we already are performing on a daily basis that have absolutely no bearing in right, which we have no right to continue to perform. It is an apophatic or negative solution. The solution lies in what we must stop doing. And people hate that. They hate that answer. And the reason they hate it is because their ego is so overinflated that they believe they know the solution in its fullness better. And it's all these things that run through their mind like endless chatter. It's an endless chatter brain of, but what about this, and we could do this, that. Stop the chatter of the mind. What my work has prepared and helped people to do, if they're really listening, is to get your mind and body in a place where you are able to receive from the living dynamic intelligence of the cosmos itself the real answer to solving the human condition of slavery and getting out of slavery and being in a world that is actually in a state of true freedom or true anarchy. And that is what my work has already done. The solution is revealed. It is out there. And it is out there in a way that no one else delivers to the fullness and to the completeness and in the way that I do it, unapologetically. I cannot find anybody else that does it to that extent. And that's horrifying to me. I want people to know that's a horrifying speculation, a realization to make. Okay? I wish there were 1,000, 10,000, 1,000,000 people doing this better than me. It's one of the reasons I needed to come back on the airwaves. Okay? Just if you want to call that egotism, go ahead. You can call that arrogance. I don't care. I'm not interested in what you think of me or what I'm doing. You're not taking me off my mission. Boys and girls, you ain't taking me off my mission. Okay? You could say whatever the hell you want to say about me or how I do anything. I'm doing it. I'm continuing to doing it. And you're not taking me off my mission. Okay? I was sidelined for a little bit. I had to get my act and my work together. Okay? As far as living space is concerned and as far as resources are concerned, to be able to do something with better production values and find a team of people I could trust to help me launch this new platform. That's the only thing that stopped temporarily. But you're not stopping me, and you're not going to stop me from speaking, and you're not going to take me off point of my mission, which is to convey the understanding of natural law to people as the solution to the human condition of slavery. And I've done it, and I've done it better than anybody else. Much better than anybody else, quite frankly. Okay? And I'm not afraid to say that, because it's true. I don't want that to be true. I wish so many other people would step up and do the great work and show me how it should be done. Okay? So put your action where your mouth is. The people that want to talk trash. Okay? That's my suggestion. So I have offered solutions endlessly. 65 whole damn shows of them on the podcast alone. So when I hear blabbermouths that are know-nothings talk crap, okay? And as soon as they say something like this, I could tell you haven't been listening. You haven't listened to the podcast. You exercise no discernment. You exercise no true judgment. You're just talking out your ass and making yourself look like one at the same time. Okay? So, my whole work is solution-oriented. The totality of my work is solution-oriented. Here's me sitting at a dinner get-together prior to the Truth, Mind, Reality Conference. There's Ivan, there's Len and Honor in the background, there's Keith Knight there on the left. I believe, I'm not sure if that's Sonia Barrett in the foreground there, but there's Irene Pye and some other friends. This was just a great event, done just tremendously well. Okay, I can't emphasize that enough. That's what people who want to talk should be doing. Get involved, get boots on the ground, and start being a foot soldier in the great work and do the work. Put your money and your time and your attention where your mouth normally is and actually do something. All right. So in the downtime, I've been starting the production of a documentary, of a full-length documentary called Mark Passio and the Science of Natural Law. It's going to briefly be a little bit about my speaking career, and it's going to then get into what natural law is as an actual knowable science and how natural law really works, okay? And what the understanding of it is, and what would happen in the world if we truly understood it and applied it and lived according to it. So this was originally started to be worked on in the summer of 2018. I believe like around May we started this. We started it at the Art Institute of Philadelphia, which was an art school that is unfortunately closing down. My good friend Craig DeVideo is somebody who taught there, and he brought me on into the space to work with the students to start putting a documentary together as a kind of a public service to the community and to help the students get some work under their belt in their art portfolios as video students. So this is where it started, and now the project has been handed off to some of the members of the team of State of Anarchy. Carmen and Pat are actively working on this project now with me, and it's coming along great. Okay, we're taking our time with it. It will not be finished anytime soon. I'm hoping by the end of the year. That's probably, realistic, okay, because I'm traveling, and then I have some other projects I'm going to be doing mid and later in the year that I'll get into. But I'm going to project we can get this, we can knock this documentary out in the editing phase and get it out there by the end of 2019. That's my goal anyway for it, okay? So be on the lookout for the documentary, full-length documentary called Mark Passio and the Science of Natural Law. It's actively in the works. Just to very briefly talk about the book project I had started, it is still in the editing phase. I still do want to release that, okay? Maybe by sometime in 2020. I mean, I know it's been on the back burner. I am not a writer by quote trade. I can write. I'm very effective when I write. I don't enjoy it. Okay. I certainly don't enjoy writing. Okay. I do have people who are volunteering help on that project and have done a tremendous amount of work already. It is timeless information, so I could release it in 2025 and it would still be relevant. Okay. But that's on the back burner right now. I'm trying to make time for it when I can, and hopefully I will still complete the book, which I was simply going to call What on Earth is Happening, or at least What on Earth is Happening Volume 1. Okay. So, a lot of people asking about the update on that. There it is. It's not really good because it's not close to being finished. So maybe in the near future. Okay. Writing is something that I need a fire lit under my ass to do. Okay. It's not something that comes naturally. I prefer the spoken word. Okay. That's what I prefer. So I prefer talking on the microphone or getting in front of the camera and talking. Okay. That's how I feel information is communicated most effectively. And it's done with inflection and tone, body language, okay, eye contact, etc., all of that. Okay. That's how I prefer to work. That's the tradition that I learned the most from and gained the most from. Mouth to ear tradition. Okay. And that's why that comes naturally to me. I gravitate toward that media. What I don't gravitate toward naturally is writing. Okay. Although again, I do it well and effectively, but it's on the back burner right now. And that's all I'll say about that. So then, summer of 2018, I gave, as part of Philadelphia Liberty on the Rocks, hosted by my friend John, I gave the true meaning and purpose of the Second Amendment, Part 2, Arms, Needs, and Cowardice. This went over great. We pulled in probably about 80 people into Adobe Cafe for this short lecture. Went a little bit longer than I thought, a little over an hour, and it came off beautifully. I think some of the graphics in this one were some of the best that I've put together, and a lot of people gained a lot of information about what the real dynamic of self-defense is all about and how far it extends. Okay, so that, again, also available at whatonearthishappening.com. You can watch it in the video section. If you want a hard copy of it, you can go to gifts.whatonearthishappening.com, and you could get that in the gifts area in DVD or flash drive. Here's me delivering the presentation. We're recording it, and, delivering it on the screen there at Adobe Cafe in their back room. I plan on doing more events at this venue. Great people. It's a good area. If it's a small crowd, we could do it in the downstairs room, which is where I'm doing this right now. It can hold about 100 people. I think we had about 75 to 80 people there is my guess. I think about 80. And then, they have an upstairs room that's like a ballroom that could fit like 250 people, this old school style dance ballroom, like for family events, like weddings and whatnot, and family reunions. And it's like really cool old school ballroom type venue. And I'm planning on renting that out for larger presentations here in Philadelphia. So, look for events coming out in the future at Adobe Cafe right here in South Philadelphia. Okay, so then I tabled at the MUFON National Symposium, July 2018. This was this past summer. Here I am at the table where many great researchers and speakers presented information at the National MUFON Symposium. I had all my DVDs and flash drives out there, coasters, talked to a lot of great people. A lot of great conversations happened at this one. Met a lot of people from the UFO community, the disclosure community, etc. Had a good time. So thank you to the event organizers for that one. Here's me and my assistant, Leah Boone, tabling at the event on the next day. And, it was an overall very positive event. And, if I'm invited back to do that again, I would do that again. I spoke at a MUFON event at a local statewide conference before that was hosted by my friend Jennifer. And, I've stayed somewhat active in the whole research community when it comes to extraterrestrial intelligence and, the whole disclosure effort. So, this was a fun time and got to meet and greet with a lot of cool people at that event as well. Here I am talking to one of my favorite researchers, Travis Walton, not just a researcher, but an experiencer. And here he is holding my natural law seminar DVD at the National MUFON Symposium. So, a great overall positive event. I've continued to work with the Tesla Science Foundation. This was the event I just gave just before coming back on the air. January 12th. Okay, the show debuted on the 20th. So this is 8 days before the debut of the new show format in New York City at the Nikola Tesla conference that was at the New Yorker Hotel where Tesla lived for his last many years of his life and eventually passed away right in that building. So it was called Tesla and Humanity's Missing Paradigm Shift. And I want to thank the Tesla Science Foundation for hosting this event. This went over really great. The New Yorker is a beautiful venue to do a conference at. Nick Launchard did a great job in organizing it. A lot of great speakers and presenters. Here I am on stage delivering my Tesla and Humanity's Missing Paradigm Shift presentation. And on the slide there, it's talking about a dynamic a lot of people don't want to talk about or discuss, that we have to internally change. We can't just say that we want change externally and talk about it and wish for it to happen. We have to be the change that we want to see. And, when people ask people who wants change, everybody wants change, they put their hand up, oh, I want things to change. But they don't want to look at the requirements for that change to take place. And the main requirement for that change to take place is you yourself must think differently about the world and yourself and other people than you are currently thinking. Change starts with mental change. All physical, manifested, real-world change starts with mental change and spiritual change. And then when the person who's saying, well, we all want to see these things change, but who wants to change? Themselves. Then all the hands go down, all the heads go down, and you could hear the flies buzzing in the room and the crickets chirping. Okay? So, people have to understand none of these solutions are affirmative or positive solutions. They are all apophatic or negative solutions, meaning that we have to stop doing the things that we are doing. So I came to the Tesla conference to tell the Tesla enthusiasts one of the hardest things that you could tell this community of people. Good, supportive people who want to see Tesla's work come to fruition, but they don't understand you can't bring free energy into manifestation in a society that's enslaved. You have to end slavery first. You're not going to have free energy in a slave state. Okay? So I was telling him free energy cannot be manifested as long as the people of Earth continue to believe in and condone humanity's current immoral institutions, which are based entirely in violence, coercion, deception, ignorance, greed, usury, and exploitation. And that amounts to a society that is based upon slavery. That's what it is. Okay? So, this is what I try to explain to people. I'm not here to make friends with people. Okay? My work is saying to people the horrors of what is going on this planet. I've jokingly said, but not so jokingly, that maybe the show should be called What in Hell is Happening? Because that's where we're at collectively. We're in hell. Okay? That's what this whole place has become. And it doesn't have to be hell, but right now it is hell. We've converted it into a hell. All right? So, I get up there and I tell people the things they don't want to hear. If I wanted to be showered in gifts and adulation, ladies and gentlemen, I would get up here and blow smoke up your ass and tell you exactly what you want to hear. Hey, that's what all the New Age teachers do, right? Oh, it's all peace, love, and happiness. And it's like you could just dream it and it will magically come true. We can cover our eyes with our fairy glasses and suddenly the world becomes a loving, wonderful, spiritually active, and advanced place. Well, it doesn't work like that. If I wanted to tell you things that aren't true, so we could all feel good and have a big love fest, and then you could shower me with donations because I made you feel good. Well, it'd be real easy to do that. It would be very simple to do it, and most people would buy it. Most people would go for it because people want to hear what they want to hear. I try to explain to people, one of the reasons you'll know that I'm for real is I'm not telling you what you want to hear. I'm telling you extremely hard things to hear. Hard pills to swallow is what I'm pumping out there. Okay? And I'm doing it looking you straight in the face and telling you you don't understand how it works. You don't understand what the real solution is. And I have come to understand it. And I'm not bragging. I'm not putting myself up on a pedestal. I'm attempting to be as honest as possible with my listening audience and say, if you come to understand the dynamics that I have come to understand, the world will make sense to you. You will understand the solution. And this is what people write to me when they've been through the entirety of my material. See, it's a tapestry of knowledge. You can't listen to a clip on YouTube. Know my YouTube channel, okay? You can go to youtube.com/whatonearth93. That's the Mark Passio and What on Earth is Happening YouTube channel. But if you just take clips that other people have taken from my presentations in YouTube and listen to them out of context, you're not going to get what my work is about at all. You're not going to understand it at all. You're going to understand little disparate pieces of it. That's not how to get the fullness of anything. Okay? Now here I am tabling. There's my assistant Leah, who helped with the table, did a great job, as she always does. We're at the New Yorker out in the foyer there, where they had all the tables, the vending tables set up. We had a lot of great conversations with people at this event as well. A lot of good people turned out that really want to see the real change, the real positive change toward a true free society happen in the world. And that's good to see at an event like this, because again, in new tech, right? In the new tech sector, just like sometimes in the UFO sector, the non-human intelligence area of research, you don't always see people that understand freedom. They can understand their little niche and corner of the research they're studying, but they don't get the totality of the picture, of the big picture in many cases. Well, at the Tesla event, I saw a lot more of that than I had ever seen before. So the message is getting out there, to select people, but, we need to grow it a lot more. But it was good to talk with some people that really did get it at that event. And here's some of the crew that I was running with during that day, out at the Tesla event. We stopped and got some lunch at a local place in New York, had a pretty good time while we were out there. Okay, so, the hiatus ended, but, during the hiatus, we practiced extensively to do this broadcast. I know this will get a kick, a little rise out of all the people on the setup crew and production crew, because a lot of them didn't understand how much we were going to practice to pull this off, okay? We practiced for like months, Okay, months in advance of this show. And I would say like we really did like almost like quote dress rehearsal practices for like a full 4 months before we really started broadcasting live. Okay, and that's typical of how I proceed. I want to see the value be brought forward for people in a way that is done with good production values. And, I'm sure we could probably advance it in the future and get it even better. But right now, here, this is what I conceived of. This is the whole aesthetic of it. The format is working, I think, beautifully. I want to thank again the production and setup crew because they're just doing an absolutely astounding job. Okay. And thank God they came to my assistance. Okay. I'm very appreciative of that, because I would not be able to do this myself. Okay. The great work is about coming together and cooperating. Okay. So, going back to the slides here, we put together this new great format, and it's been going off without a hitch. And I hope that will continue indefinitely into the future. I think people are gaining a lot from it. Okay. So, again, this is a lot of pre-production planning and work, sitting here week after week, doing the whole setup, running the show as if we, off of the live streaming, just running it like we would and seeing what the quality comes out like, and, tweaking it, making technological adjustments, making different little setup adjustments. This is a labor of love. Okay. And this was all done in the months leading up to me coming back on the air. Okay, here's another member of the crew, Tom. We're contemplating some stuff, how we're going to do certain things. And you can see, this is just my bedroom, folks. We make it look like a little makeshift TV studio, but we're just in the place where I sleep every night. Okay. I would love to have just a little bit bigger of a place to have like a studio or even like a basement that I can convert into a studio. We just have to move things out of the way and get it done in the space where we're at, this is how the room is today. Okay. This was last week as we were setting up and trying to get lighting and everything right. And there you see my bed pushed up against the wall on that side of the room, and just things taken out of the way so that we could, have enough setup space and floor space to do this. And this is how you can do things on even a shoestring budget. Okay. You don't need a big multi-billion-dollar studio. Okay. It would be nice, be great. Hey, if you have those kind of resources, go for it. That's what this is all about, is advance your effort, build upon your previous effort, move things forward, grow your project. That's what everybody should be trying to do. Okay. That's what this is all about. That's how you reach more people. Okay. But, this is done on as shoestring of a budget as it can be done. And, this is what people are coming to my assistance to make happen. Okay. It's humbling. It's a humbling thing because, again, to realize that the vision that I came up with, I recognized I could not do alone. And then upon, asking for help, it was tough to get people who really were committed and wanted to do it and volunteered their time and effort. But when they did come, the right people showed up. Okay. And they're really getting it done. So, that's the early stage of the rebroadcast, okay, of coming back onto the air, back into broadcasting. We did a little celebratory party last week after the launch of the first show. Here's us hanging out at a local pub that my buddy Mike works out with a bunch of friends, and it was a great time. And in the downtime, I've been staying close with other researchers, and there's a reason for that, because I'm getting ready to launch a network at some point, probably this summer. I want to say that cautiously if everything goes as planned. But here's me hanging out at a local restaurant with Jay Parker and Fritz Springmeyer, this work has brought me in touch with some of the best people out there who are really trying to put the word out about what's really going on in our reality, and I thank all those types of researchers for their efforts. Here I am hanging out with Fritz and Bill Church. We went to City Tavern. It's not the greatest of photographs. I tried to clean it up as much as possible. There was a little bit of distortion on it, but we hung out at City Tavern, which was like a rebuilt version of the tavern that the Founding Fathers actually gathered at during Revolutionary War era period here in Philadelphia. And we went there, during their stay here in Philly. And here we are hanging out outside of where Thomas Paine basically produced and distributed the pamphlet Common Sense, which was one of the things that led to popular support for the American Revolution. So, really, staying in touch with friends and researchers has been a big part of what I am doing coming up in the future as well. And this is the logo for the work that I have planned, which is called the One Great Work Network. Okay. What this is going to be is a collection of researchers that I personally like their work, that I trust, that I think are doing good work to try to bring the truth forward to people in the ways that they do it. Okay. It's not going to be just mirroring Mark Passio's stuff. It's going to be an eclectic variety of other researchers that I feel are making a valued contribution to the great work. Okay. In the way that they can. And, I want to launch it basically as like a 2-section network. Right now, we've launched this just as a Facebook group, a Facebook page, I should say. Okay. And we're doing that just to keep people abreast of some of the people and their work who are going to be on the network. Okay, so you could go onto Facebook and type in One Great Work Network, and that will lead you to the place where we're basically setting up as like an introductory area. We launched this as an introduction to the network. Okay, this is eventually going to be a full-fledged subscription-based website where we have a ton of free content, and then we have for subscribers that wish to give a donation to the effort of all of the researchers. We have a premium section that will require subscription, okay? And essentially then the other hosts of the network will also have a way of actually bringing in resources through the people that subscribe so that they can make something for their contributions to the work, okay? So this is going to basically help put resources, put money into the hands of the contributors of the network, okay? That's what this is for. Okay, so it's going to be called One Great Work Network. The page is up. Okay, please, ladies and gentlemen, it's a shell. Okay, it is all that is up there is a shell. The content is not up there. The subscriptions, while it will lead you to the place to make donations, just don't do it now until we actually start the network. Okay, so it's onegreatworknetwork.com. That's going to be the site. Okay, we're going to be building this out over the next few months, okay, as we bring content creators on board with the project, okay? And then we will start taking donations. I'm going to say later in the summer, okay? That's my projection about when this will be ready, okay? So right now, do not subscribe yet. I will let you know when we have officially launched, but that will be the website. I finally have gotten some interest in getting this built out by a webmaster who is more likely than not going to start that effort. Okay, so One Great Work Network. Be on the lookout. Now, continuously during the entire hiatus, here's what I've been doing. Okay, working on the What on Earth is Happening website, building those presentations, delivering those presentations, okay? Building the whole gifts area, right? So, doing the work to package up that stuff and mail it out. Making inventory. My friend Michael comes over on a weekly basis and helps me make inventory. He does a phenomenal job with it, okay? This is the kind of effort that's ongoing constantly since my downtime and even previously to that is disseminating the ARC. The ARC drive is something I didn't really, prop up or like do a lot of promotional effort for. It was sort of a quiet offer, but I've started advertising the ARC because I think it's so important to get the totality of knowledge into people's hands. And what the ARC is it's a hard drive that you send to me. So you buy a 1 terabyte hard drive from wherever you want to purchase it from, as long as it has 1 terabyte of free space on it. You mail it to me. There are specific rigid mailing instructions, which I'm going to go over next week. And there's very valid reasons for those because I've been through all kinds of permutations of what people send me. Sometimes they come damaged. And that's the thing I hate the most. That kills me because somebody spent all this time and effort to get the drive, put it together, and then they send it and they don't know how to package it up right. And then it comes destroyed and I have to send them back a destroyed hard drive. That kills me. Okay. And I don't want to see that happen. And it has happened Not an extreme number of times, but too many times. Okay? So I've made some pretty stringent shipping instructions that I would like followed out of respect for the offer. But here's what the offer is. I fill up from my personal research library 1,800 video files onto this drive, 8,000 digital books, and about 20,000 digital audio files in the form of lectures and presentations. And I put all of this in a structured way, structured into folders, onto the 1 terabyte drive that you provide to me, and then I ship it back to you. And you can research offline essentially until the day you die. Okay? You still won't go through it all. Okay? You'd have to practically be a superhuman to do that. Okay? It's not impossible, but more likely than not, this will keep you busy during the whole time you're alive. And hopefully we will achieve a state of human freedom by that point. Not ensured, not guaranteed, but, guaranteed up to the point when that happens, or the point when you pass from the 3D realm into wherever we go next, you will still be having data to look into in this drive that will still be there. Okay. So, this is what the ARC offer is. You can look more about it. You can research all the details about what this is at whatonearthishappening.com/ARC. Okay. There's a form at the bottom of that page after the offer is explained that you could fill out. Upon filling out that form, you will, in your web browser, you will not get an email sent to you, but in your web browser, you will get a link that you can click on and get the shipping instructions as a PDF document. You could either download that or print it, and then you could follow the instructions from there to receive the ARC. Okay, so that's what I have been doing in the meantime. Here's an example of the ARC. Just in a hard drive the size of, smaller than most people's cell phones, about the size of a small pack of cigarettes, a pack of thin cigarettes. Okay, that's how big one of these USB bus-powered hard drives are, and it has basically everything you would ever possibly need to know to become awakened and to understand the world as it really is. Okay, so, it's an amazing time that we live in when you can carry that type of knowledge around in your pocket. But that's what the ARC drive is, and that's what it makes available. So that's what I've been doing during the downtime, the quote downtime, right? Where's Mark been? He's not doing anything. This is what people actually say in their ignorance after I've just shown you what I've done during the whole downtime. Now, compare that to what you have done to advance the great work. Compare that to what most people have done to advance the understanding of natural law, of true human freedom, of true anarchy. Now, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying this makes me any kind of a better, such a superhuman person, okay? What I'm saying is, let's compare our dynamic of drive and will to accomplish this end that we both say we want. And then let's look at who's putting more effort and force toward it. Who's actually engaged in the behavior of doing the great work effectively. That's all I'm saying. I want people to consider that. And if that's my downtime, okay, and now I'm back, imagine where this is going to go. That's what I've been doing during my hiatus. Okay? So with that having been said, I think I've shown people what I've been doing. Now the question becomes, what are you going to do? That's the question that you need to answer. What are you going to do? Okay? Let me come out of my full screen presentation, and I'm going to switch over to my web browser now. And I'm going to show people a few things, okay? So in this section of the quote presentation for today, the show for today, I want to show you some new things that I've added to the What on Earth is Happening website during the hiatus. I want to show you the founders page briefly, if possible. I want to show you very briefly the 1776 gear page, and then I'm going to take you through the gifts area. Okay, I think it's highly important for me to take you through the gifts area to show you what that's all about and how it works, okay, and what not to do, all right? And then I'm going to take calls after that. And then I'm going to go through the call procedure too, because there's a little bit of confusion about it. I want to clear that up. This is what we're doing in this, like, you can consider this like a soft launch to the show in a way, okay? Because I want to catch people up on how things work on all this back end stuff that we have set up. So then this way, when people do call in, it's a smooth process, okay? Where there, as last week, there was a little bit of a hiccup and a confusion regarding it, okay? So on the show, I have added the show on the webpage, okay, of whatonearthishappening.com. I've added the show tab, okay, and I've added the show button. Now, clicking either this button right here that says weekly video show or show will take you to the live show page, okay. So I'm not going to do that because, you know, it will stream what we're actually actively streaming right now. But basically, that's how you get to the show page. Now, on there, there's the call-in link. Okay, so if you want to call in live, you can get Discord and from the link that I provide there, and then there's the call-in link to actually get into the server, the call-in server. Okay, then underneath that, I've even put an archive link, and all the archive is the podcast page. So people always are asking, well, where's the show after you record it, after you do it live? Okay, the show page is not going to have the previous show. All it's going to show you is next week's show that is scheduled. Okay, after we go off the air today. All right. So if you want to get any of the former week's show, you have to click the podcast tab on the website. Okay, click the podcast tab. You can also click the podcast button that's down here. But this will take you to the archive, and it's just the same running archive in reverse chronological order. New shows first. You want to go back to the old shows. Just going to show you. So at the top here, here's podcast number 197. You can click play. Okay. And I will hit play and I'll skip to a little bit later and you'll hear to the American public. Can you believe it? That's where we're at in consciousness. That's exactly where humanity is at in consciousness. If you don't think so, you are exercising a skewed perspective because you know that that's not really true. Okay, so you guys get the idea. You can play the embedded shows right here on the podcast page, and then underneath there's a description. Okay, I give the date, the description of the topics that were talked about during that particular show, and then related images and or documents are going to be included in a zip archive from now on. Okay, because I don't really want people playing the show and then bring up images on top that are actually really there in real time. So if you want the images to browse them on your own computer, they're available to download with that link on underneath each show. It'll say download the zip archive. Okay. And then, of course, if you want to go back to older shows, you would scroll backwards. I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom of this page right now. I'm going to show you that at the bottom, there are other pages of the podcast. So I'll wait until the lower third is removed. And then I'm going to show you, if you wanted to go back to page number 4, that's where show 1 is at right now. There will be 50 podcasts on each page as long as the page continues to support that as far as the way it's handled in the web browser. I may eventually take that down to less, but right now it's handling it. Okay. And here's show number 1 at the bottom. Okay. So you can then click that and listen in order. You would go up. You know, you get it, okay? You can see how this is organized here, all right? So that's the podcast, okay? So I want to once again direct you to the ARC page, okay? You could read all about the ARC on this page. You could also click the button on the left. There's the form that I talked about, okay? You can fill this out, okay? I just asked for your full name, your email address, your phone number. So in case anything does go wrong when you do send the drive, you know, you have the shipping instructions. And if something does go wrong, I can contact you very easily, okay? And that won't get lost, okay? So I want to show people the founders, okay? I talked about that. Let's go to the founders website. This is thefounders.us, okay? And there we are performing at an early show. And the tagline, no masters, no slaves, in the middle of the image. Okay. The basic website, you know, it's a simple WordPress website where, you know, I introduce the band. I talk about what our whole mentality and our whole philosophy is. We've released, we have some social media links that you click there for Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, and Instagram. And then, you know, I talk about the EP that we have released. Okay. The About page, we're going to eventually put bios up. We have a bio for the band, but essentially, you know, bios will be eventually forthcoming for the band members. So these are band member bios. Okay. Now, here's what I really want to show you. I want to show you the releases page, and I want to show you the photos page, because I want you to see some of our live action shots. And again, some people will be into this kind of music, some people won't. It's a personal taste preference, okay? So here's the No Masters, No Slaves EP, and we have the 6 tracks embedded. We have the intro track, the animating contest. You could read lyrics, okay? So if you here's track number 2, A Nation of Sheep, okay? You can click that, and then there's lyrics, and you can I'll blow these up a little bit so they're easier to see. And there's the lyrics for the song A Nation of Sheep, okay? So I'll play a track from the EP. This EP is available on the gifts area of What on Earth is Happening. I'm going to play, let me go back down to normal size here. Okay, and I'm going to play, let's play Stand and Fight, and I'll open up a new tab, and we could follow along with the lyrics for Stand and Fight. So let's bring that up, and I will play the song. Here we go. This is the Founders from our debut EP, No Masters, No Slaves, track number 3 on the EP, entitled Stand and Fight.
Break your world of death and tyranny. Our souls
There you have it, folks. There's a track from the Founders' debut EP, and I know it won't be for everybody, but some people will dig it. You know, some people understand kind of what I'm going for there. If you're familiar with older punk, especially some fast punk, hardcore punk, a little bit of an oi influence, a little bit of a metal influence. So, you know, if people aren't into it, that's your take, that's your opinion. I get it. I know that like heavy music isn't for everybody, you know, but there's a certain dynamic of people that it attracts. There are people who understand the angst that is involved in it. This is a cathartic thing for me personally. Okay. And, you know, I think for what we do, we're effectively putting out a message of freedom in a genre that would not ordinarily have this type of a philosophy interjected into it. So it's a very interesting blending of worlds, you could say. So let's continue by, so for people who want to check more out about the Founders, you could listen to our whole EP there, okay? So I'll just show you some photos. Let's see some photos from our early shows, okay? I'll roll through a few of these. You know, some of them are better than others because live action photos can tend to blur, you know, but basically, you know, you see us on the stage playing. You know, you could go through the whole gallery here. It's pretty nicely set up. Guitarist Mike. Older bass player John, who's moved on to a different project. There's our rhythm guitarist Carrie in the background. Our former drummer Jared. Our drummer now is Dan. And there's our other guitarist DJ, and he has now moved over to bass. So just an example of us hitting the stage. I'll move on to another show. Let's look at some photos from 2017. There's not many here. This is the debut of the EP, the show that we did here in Philadelphia. You guys get the idea, you know, okay? If you want to read the lyrics, that's on the lyrics page. There's also live videos. There's a couple. You could check those out. Okay, so the founders.us, I think it's been a fun project to do. It's kind of right on hiatus right now because I've been, you know, doing the work with What on Earth is Happening and getting ready to go out to Mexico. So I'll be picking this up after I come back from Mexico, and hopefully we'll get a full-length album out as soon as possible. That's another project I want to happen in the very near future. So that's the Founders. Okay, 1776 gear. This is the site that, again, I built with a friend here in Philadelphia. Very simple website. It's a simple e-commerce site. You could check out the t-shirts we have. And then there are other sections which are concealed carry gear for men and women. And then there is a section of health products. And some of these health products are pretty good. I take them myself. Not all of them, but a few. And you could check those out. Again, we're affiliates with those. We don't sell those directly. And there's some preparedness products. Again, preparedness and readiness is something that I also highly recommend. So, you know, that's something that I'll probably be doing a show on in the future as well. I know that my friend Fernando came to talk about water purification before. I'd like to maybe at some point bring him back on to get more into preparedness, and that's very poignant. It's something that is very apropos to what is going on in our world. Okay, so finally, before we go to some calls, I want to take people through not only the donation gifts website and show you how this works, but I want to show you the donation page on What on Earth is Happening, and I want to show you how you can make a personal donation to the effort of the show, because I think it's so highly important for people to understand that researchers like myself and people who are involved in this work can't continue to just do it on our own without any support whatsoever. Okay, and I feel like not only myself, but the other people who are actively engaged and involved in doing the great work deserve to be supported in doing this work. If other people aren't going to get involved and do the work directly, at least ancillarily support the work by either whatever type of donation that you can afford to make, or through donating technology, as I'm going to show you that we've set up a way to do that. Okay, so let's cut back to the laptop so that I could show people. This is gifts.whatonearthishappening.com, and I just want to show you how I got into this page. I'm going to close that down for a second, and I'm going to click on donation gifts. This button right here will get you there, or this tab right here, right next to the donate tab, which is gifts. Okay, but I'll click the button. Okay, now I used to take people directly into the page, but I wanted to put this caveat page up here, this introduction page, to explain to people that you do need a certain type of account to use gifts, the donation gifts area of What on Earth is Happening. So it says here, before using What on Earth is Happening donation gifts, you should know that you can only donate for gift items from this site using a PayPal account or a Bitcoin wallet. Credit cards, debit cards, and bank transfers cannot be used directly. They can, however, be used through your existing PayPal account only if they are set up in advance as a PayPal payment method. So what this means is if you want to use a credit card or a debit card, for example, to donate through donation gifts for whatever items that you want to get there, you have to set up PayPal first, and then you have to link your credit card to your PayPal account, because PayPal and Bitcoin are the only options that are accepted on gifts. So it says, click one of these, click one of the following buttons to continue. I understand I must have either a PayPal or a Bitcoin wallet, and I currently do have one of these options. If you click that you currently don't have these options, it just takes you to a page that says you need one of these, so you can go and set up a PayPal account by clicking either one of these links, or you can learn more about how Bitcoin works and how to set up a Bitcoin wallet by clicking on that link. Okay, so I'm going to go back, and I'm going to click the green button. Now that will open up the gift site in a new browser tab or window, okay? And this is the donation gifts area of whatonearthishappening.com, gifts.whatonearthishappening.com, okay? So you see we have a slider on the page, okay? And you can pause that, and you can look at the images here. You can click through it manually, okay? If you like something that you see in that slider, you can click it, and then it will show you the product page for that actual product, okay? We have very clear, crisp product images. So if you hover over that, as you see, it will show you the details. And if I click it, it will make it a very large image on the screen, okay, where you could see all the detail of the product, what it looks like, okay? So I'm going to show you all of the products, not all of them, but I'm going to go through like the product pages. But what I want to show you is this red link here, okay, which is talking about, please read the instructions for the site first. It's very easy how to use this site. People overcomplicate things in their mind, and it leads to confusion. It's so simple to use this site. Okay, it's a normal shopping basket like you would see on any other e-commerce website, but this is not an e-commerce website. This is a donation website. Okay, the only difference is when you go to quote pay. In this case, you're donating for the object or items that you want. Okay, you are not being connected to a payment processor, because I don't have a merchant account to connect to a payment processor. Okay, all I am doing is tabulating the result of what you want and saying, for a donation of this amount, you will get these items as a gift. Okay, for donating that amount to What on Earth is Happening, to the cause of What on Earth is Happening. Okay, and then I send you to the place where I accept donations. And in that field, it will be pre-filled out the amount to donate for those items. It's actually so simple, it's almost stupid that more people don't do this, okay? Very simple, yet people overcomplicate it in their mind, largely because they don't understand that I don't take credit cards and payment and debit cards directly. You have to have PayPal to do that. That's all. Simple, okay? So here's the basic point. If you don't have PayPal or Bitcoin, just don't even bother to use donation gifts. You can't order anything through it if you don't have PayPal or Bitcoin. It's very simple, and people just need to understand that first, okay? So if you click this, it will explain all of that to you, okay? It shows you this website does not work like a normal online store, okay? It gives you the shipping rates. If you're in the United States, shipping is a flat rate. $6.93. If you're in Canada, it's a flat rate. If you're in the rest of the world, it's a flat rate. So the shipping rates are there. You know, whatever your order is, that is going to get tacked on as shipping. Okay? So whatever your order is, if you're in the US, $6.93 additional. If you're in Canada, $15.93. If you're anywhere else in the world, $23.93. Okay? So there's only 2 donation methods accepted, PayPal and Bitcoin. Okay? If you want to use a credit card or a debit card or a bank transfer, you have to set that up in advance through PayPal. That's all this page basically explains to you. You can read the full instructions if you want. I show people this because if you put in an order by hitting the checkout button, just hitting the checkout button puts the order through on the back end. That's just how this cart works. I ask people respectfully, just don't hit the checkout button unless you're definitely going to make a donation. So, I just don't want the additional work of sorting through orders that were paid for versus not paid and just put in and then abandon. Respectfully, do not abandon the cart. If you're going to use the site, follow through with the donation once you choose the items that you want. So I'm going to take people through this real quick. Or I won't even take them through it. I'm just going to show you some of the items, okay? So we have the men's t-shirts. So let's click that. And this shows you all the men's t-shirts we have. We have what has been called the Natural Law t-shirt or the Lex Rex t-shirt. We have them in a palette of colors, 7 colors or 6 colors in black. Okay. And then we have the One Great Work t-shirts. Okay. With the logo for One Great Work, What on Earth is Happening on the front. Okay. And then I'll show you the backs of these in a moment. But we have those in a 7 color palette. And then we have 2 colors, black and a dark heathered gray for the new What on Earth is Happening design. I'm probably going to redesign this shirt and offer it only in black, but in a multicolored design where I'm going to color in the elements of the shirt and offer that as a specialty item in the future. So let me go to Natural Law t-shirts here on the left, and let's click on the black version of the shirt. Okay, you get 4 different images down here in the image gallery. Okay, you could switch between them. So this is the front. Okay, you could hover to get detail or you can click it and you're seeing the full image of the shirt there. Okay, and then here's the back. Okay, I'll actually bring that on the large image. This is the back of the Natural Law design. It says, "The slavery of humanity is the problem and living according to natural law is the solution." And then you could see this on models as well. So it's on a male model there. It's the men's shirt. And here's the back of it, also on a male model. All right. Excellent. So again, they're in a multitude of colors. This is the color palette I'm offering right now. So you could see for any shirt, you'll basically get the same thing. Okay. One Great Work t-shirt. There's our color palette of shirts. Same thing when you click on an item. Okay. And the What on Earth is Happening, new design. Okay. Vectorized variant of the logo. Looks pretty good. All right. Then there's women's t-shirts. And I'll just show you we only are offering them in black and dark gray. And there's the Natural Law, the One Great Work, and the What on Earth is Happening designs. Okay. So let's move on to flash drives and DVDs. Every one of my titles is available on this site as a flash drive. Okay. So for example, here's Fake Ass Christians, which we talked about earlier. Again, same thing. You could hover over it and see what the product actually looks like. Okay. And that's the flash drive page. All of my titles are available here on flash drive. Okay. Going to DVDs, same thing. Every title that I've ever put out is available in DVD format, whether it be a 1 disc DVD or whether it be a 2, 3, or 4 disc set. Okay, so here's Duress, Dissidence, and Deadly Force. Okay, you can click that, and there's the DVD. Let's say I want to order that. Okay, you hit Add to Basket right here. All right, let's say I want a t-shirt. I'll say I want a Natural Law. Let's say I'll go with the green, and I'll select my size. They're right now, they were available in 3 sizes. They're only available in 2. I sold out of extra larges. So I generally wear a large. I'll select that, add it to the basket. Okay, we have coasters, we have keychains, we have buttons and stickers. Okay, some nice wood burn coasters. Okay, let's say I want a Founders coaster set. There's 6 coasters in these nice, beautiful wood burn boxes. Okay, I'll put one of those in the basket. Okay, there's the actual cork coaster. There's 6 of these in these nicely artistically done boxes. Okay, and let's say I want a button. Okay, I'll pick a purple One Great Work button. Okay, I'll add that to the basket. Let's say I want a couple stickers. All right, I'll order some Founders stickers. This is a 3 sticker set. And I'll order some What on Earth is Happening. Let's say I want 5 of these. Okay, so there's my subtotal. Okay, I can click View Basket. Okay, it's going to show you all the items. It's going to also tell you what the shipping will be depending on where you live. And I just ask people, don't hit the checkout button until you're actually ready to donate. That's all. Very simple. Respectfully asking that. Okay, so when you hit that, okay, you can fill in all your information. What it will do is it will take you to either paypal.me or it will show you my Bitcoin address to donate to. If you choose PayPal, okay, it will take you to my paypal.me and it will put the total of the order in where you donate through PayPal. And that's it. Then you do that through your PayPal account, send it, and then I will get the order right out to you. Okay. And if you have Bitcoin, you could do it the same way. It will give you my Bitcoin address. You just use your wallet to send the amount in Bitcoin to me. That's it. Okay. Very simple to use. People overcomplicate things because they don't understand it's not a traditional e-commerce website, and it's just going to tabulate the donation value when you finish making your cart selection, and then it is going to send you to make the donation. Okay. So people have been very generous in using this site, and it's been working very well. And it's something that I hope people will continue because these are great items to give to friends, relatives, family members, okay, to help get them awake, to help explain what is really taking place in our world. You know, you'll learn everything from occult symbolism to what real anarchy is, to free energy technologies that have been suppressed, and like a host more things. Okay, so donation gifts, you can get there by clicking the gifts tab or button or going directly to gifts.whatonearthishappening.com. Okay, so next I want to go back to the web browser and I want to show you the donation page. Okay, so this is something I also built out quite a bit during the hiatus because I think I was very lax on telling people about donations for this broadcast. Okay, when I did start promoting it a little bit, more came. It's the idea of if you want to receive, you must ask. Okay, and I would not have been able to do this broadcast or even really put it even close to coming together into manifested reality without, first of all, interested donors that said, I'm going to help make this happen for you. And some people, you know, they're private. They want to remain private, and they were very super generous. Everybody who has done this knows who they are. And other people, they made small contributions through the donation gifts area of the site or directly from the direct donation page. This is whatonearthishappening.com/donate. Okay. And I'm going to take you through because I offer a bunch of different ways to donate. There's 9 methods of donation now for What on Earth is Happening. Before, you could only send a donation through PayPal. Now I have 8 additional methods. Okay. So here's the PayPal link right here. Okay. You could donate with PayPal. Okay. This will take you to my paypal.me page. The same page that is used for donation gifts. I'm actually going to click this and show you what it looks like because it's a very, very simple interface. This is paypal.me. It shows you that this is my PayPal page. I'll make this a little bit bigger so folks can see it a little bit better. Okay. And you could just put a dollar value in here. Okay. Now for donation gifts, always make sure this is on US dollar. Okay. So let's say you want to donate $20. You would type in $20, you hit the next button, and then it'll send that from you to me via PayPal. It's that simple to donate to What on Earth is Happening. Okay, so that's PayPal. The next 5 methods are cryptocurrencies. Okay, so this is a little bit more the more technically advanced, even though crypto is not that technically advanced to get into, really. I would highly recommend just downloading the Exodus wallet. Okay, you could use an exchange if you want to buy Bitcoin and basically convert Bitcoin into something else or sell it. Okay, there's different exchanges to do that, but I recommend a personal desktop wallet where you control all of the private encryption keys. Okay, I like the Exodus wallet. There are other good ones, but I would just recommend Exodus to people for cryptocurrency, for getting started. You could open up those and from a friend who might already have some crypto, give him some cash and say, can you put this amount into my Bitcoin wallet to let me get started learning how crypto works, how cryptocurrency works. Okay, so I accept 5 different cryptocurrencies right now. That might be expanded in the future. And we're going to get to your calls. I just want to take a little bit more to explain this to people. I think it's very important. Calls are coming next. Okay, I accept Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and all of these are right on the site. Okay, the addresses are right there. You could also use your phone if you want to scan the QR codes that are given here. These black and white boxes with these lines. Okay, these are called QR codes. You scan them and it'll take you right to your Bitcoin wallet and basically put my wallet address out as who you're sending to, and then you could fill in the amount. Okay, so you could do Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Dash. Those are the 5 cryptos that I got in early on in understanding and using cryptocurrency, and I feel that they're some of the more reputable ones, so therefore I accept donations in those. You could also do it the old-fashioned way by sending a personal check or money order. If you click this link here, it will open your email client and you could send an email to me to request the mailing address for the donations, and I get back to people within a day. Okay. And then this is the big important area. Okay, so there's PayPal, 5 cryptos. Okay, that takes you up to 6. Then there's personal check, personal money order, or postal money order. Personal check or postal money order. That takes us up to 8. Okay, the 9th method is what I feel is one of the most effective, and it shows you what you are actually contributing. Okay, because all the other ways, I basically am deciding, what am I going to put this to? What do I need right now? Okay, this I set up as an Amazon wish list. Now, I know people have their take on Amazon as being this huge, retail giant that is, put a lot of other businesses out of business in the retail space because everybody shops online. It makes it easy to put a simple technological wish list out to people. Okay, and for people that want to donate supplies, okay, that are very much needed to keep the operation running, I made this wish list. You can click on it. So if we go back to the browser, I'll show you. This is called the What on Earth is Happening Tech Needs List. Okay, and you can click either this link here in green or this button above it. And when you click that, it will show you the items that I currently require to keep What on Earth is Happening running. Okay, so sometimes it's office supplies, sometimes it's actual technological equipment. Okay, so I need some toner for the office ink and the ink that I use to print, DVD covers, etc. All right, I use a color laser printer here. It's one of the printers that I use, and people can help out by purchasing some toner. Also, I need some backup drives for particular purposes. Okay, someone was just very generous. There was a backup drive that I needed that's a bare drive that is a 12 terabyte bare internal drive that I need to make an off-site backup. Somebody just purchased that for me this week. I don't even know who it was. Sometimes they come with a mention of who purchased it, and I generally try to send a thank you note directly to them. I don't know yet who did that, but I thank them for it in advance, having seen that they did purchase that for What on Earth is Happening. It's very needed. I am trying to make a backup off-site here and give it to a friend to put in their personal safe. Okay, so the data that is done, what is recorded here, and all the work that I've done cannot be destroyed locally. Okay, so thank you to whoever made that generous donation. There's a couple of backup hard drives here. I need 2 of these Seagate Slims, 2 terabyte I am using some of these USB-C dock adapters right now. We've seen a little bit of quirkiness from the ones that I am currently using that I purchased a while back, and there's a couple of new ones that are out there that I think are a little bit better technologically, so I'm trying to upgrade that for the laptop that I use on my desk here. There's another for the tablet that I use. I'm looking to get another USB-C hub because I have some devices that I generally hook up to this as well, and I'm running out of space for that, so this hub will make it a much more productive device for me. And of course, thumb drives. I'm trying to move up to USB 3 thumb drives instead of USB 2 to give people a little bit more value, and it looks like in bulk these Cushion ones seem to work pretty good and have gotten some good reviews. So that's what's up there right now on the tech list, the tech needs list. Okay, so if you are so inclined and so generous, take a look at possibly making a donation of tech items through this wish list. So thank you to everyone who has donated. It has made this new format possible, and it continues to support me personally in my journey in doing the great work. Okay, so I think that covers the topics that I wanted to talk about for today and shows people some of the new things that I have been working on during the hiatus, and also shows you how you can directly support the effort here at What on Earth is Happening. So I thank everyone for in any way that they donated or made it possible for me to continue to do the great work. I highly encourage them to get involved in the work themselves. For those who, for whatever reasons, cannot do that, please do help support those of us who are doing that work by making a donation. Thank you so much, and let's start to go to the phone lines. I'm going to get my headset on and get my software together here, and we will start to take your calls about anything that you want to talk about regarding What on Earth is Happening or anything that's relevant to what's taking place in our world today. So let me switch over to Discord. Wow, there is a lot of people in the call-in room. So let's see. Okay, I'm going to unmute my mic. Now let me go through I'm going to unmute my mic, so now everybody in the Discord room should be able to hear me, and I'm going to ask for your patience because I want to go through how this room works, okay? There's some confusion about this, okay? So this isn't a chat room, first and foremost. I deliberately did not create a chat room for this incarnation of the What on Earth is Happening broadcast. I feel that the chat room does pretty much very little in helping to support an understanding of the topics. What I feel it does is it gives people for some people, they do discuss it legitimately. They discuss the topics and they're respectful. There's a lot of people who use chat rooms to use it as their little personal sounding board platform. Okay, and they post their links about nonsense that they think people should know about. And then there's a lot of trolling that goes on in them. Okay, there's a lot of infighting that goes on in them. What it comes down to is it's my website, it's my show, and it's my choice. That's all it comes down to. It doesn't come down to anything else. I'm not censoring anybody. Censorship would be me trying to control you on your space of the internet. Okay? This is like you trying to tell me what to do in my home or my car by saying you must have this or that. It's my choice. Okay? This is my area of the internet that I am broadcasting through. I am going to set it up how I want. This is my server. The Discord server I have set up is my little area of Discord. Okay? So that's like telling people what to have on their Facebook page or what to have on their web page. Okay? It's my decision. Okay? So I feel that a chat room or even having crosstalk within a room among members is distracting to the topics of conversation that I want to cover. That's not what this is. It was not intended to be set up like that. I didn't fail or accidentally not do it. I deliberately set it up like this. Okay? So it is for the people who want to talk to me to wait in this area to be called upon by me, and you're live on the air when I call on you. Now, the second thing to understand is there is a delay. Okay, so you should not be listening to the show in a web browser or in Facebook if you're waiting to talk to me in Discord. You're going to hear things possibly as late as 20 seconds ago. Okay? You are hearing live. You're hearing me live in the Discord room. Okay? So you don't want to listen to the stream, or you are going to miss me calling on you. Okay? So if you listen in the stream in a web browser somewhere or on your phone, you're going to miss me calling on you on Discord. When you're in the room, you should be listening actively in Discord for my voice in the third hour of the show. Okay? I want to go through a little bit more of the preparation once you get in here. Okay? So don't stay in this room unless you intend to actually go on the air live with a comment or question. Okay? This isn't a hangout. Okay? You are here because you want to talk to me live on the air. Okay? I highly recommend to use the Discord desktop app. That's the best way of using this. If you want to use the Discord mobile app, that's probably the second best way. Okay? And the web browser option, whether on the desktop or in the mobile, is your worst option. It will probably work, but there's no guarantee. I think the desktop app is really your best bet if you really want good voice quality. Desktop app with a headset like this, optimum, okay? Then you're really in business and you're going to have very good call quality, okay? So you have to click on to where it says call in room to hear, okay? And to be actually in the place where you're waiting to have your call taken. Okay. And then you want to make sure that all of your devices that can emit sound, your phone, your laptop, your television, whatever you're listening to the live stream through, mute it. You don't want any feedback in the room. Things that can create a feedback loop. Okay. So just like when you call into talk radio, you have to turn your radio off. Okay. You want to have silence in your room other than your voice. Okay. So, during your call, you're not going to be on the air on your camera, okay? We're not putting your image on the airwaves ever. It's only your voice that's coming through in the call, okay? So quit other programs that might use your microphone or your headset, okay? Like Skype or something like that. Just quit all of that. You only want one. It's optimum if you just have Discord running and no other apps running, to be quite honest. Okay, so quit any other things that might use your microphone or your headphones. You must use headphones or earbud headphones. Okay, and this is the reason is if you have a speaker, okay, then it's creating sound in the room and it's coming back through the mic and you're going to get echo and feedback. And if I hear that, I'm probably just going to let your call go. I'm going to drop it. Okay, so you want a headset of some kind on, either an earphone headset or earbuds. Okay. I'm going to determine the calls. I talked about this last week. I wish I had the option to show it in order of who joins the room first, because then I just go in order. But it's for now, it shows in alphabetical order. I'm sorry about that, guys. We're trying to figure out a solution for that. Right now, I'm just going to call upon who I want to talk to. Okay, who I see and seems interesting. Okay, when I call on you live, there's no screening. We don't screen calls here. When I call on you live, be ready. Have your mic unmuted. Everybody is muted from the server end. Okay, so I will unmute your microphone. I control whose microphone gets unmuted. Okay, so just have your mic unmuted in the settings and be ready to go with your comments or questions. Okay, so sorry, my producer is asking me, just cut my mic 1 second. Yeah. Okay, I was told that my mic was creating a little bit of distortion. Let me try to correct that momentarily, and then I'm going to go right into your calls. So I think it sounds okay now. Let me just make sure that's coming through okay. Everybody should be able to hear my volume. And let's go to, let's see. Let's go to Jonathan. Jonathan, you are live on What on Earth? Jonathan 666, you're live on 777, I'm sorry. You're live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome. Jonathan, are you there? All right, let's go to Takaru92. Takaru, are you there? You're live on What on Earth is Happening.
Yes, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi. I just wanted to say thank you for introducing me to occultism.
Oh, thank you. You're very welcome. I'm glad that you took it seriously as a topic and looked into it.
Yes. Um, well, everybody else was spouting the same old New Age rhetoric on raising your vibration by simply thinking happy thoughts. You were the only person who had opened my eyes to the true nature of spirituality. So I wanted to thank you. Yeah, but onto my question. My question is what is your opinion on sacred geometry and proportion in relation to ancient architecture? And
I think it's a very, very powerful area of study to undertake. I think this is the geometry that underlies all form in creation. And that's a very powerful statement right there in and of itself. And when we study it, if we really look deeply into it as something that is like the building blocks of everything that we experience, it teaches us a lot about ourselves, okay? Because that kind of proportion and design underlies everything that is all around us. It opens us, I think, the study of sacred geometry opens us up mentally and spiritually to wonder, okay? That's what it did for me, at least. And so I think it's a very valuable study to undertake. And when you see these proportions in nature, you start to become aware that there is zero possibility as a potential that this is accidental. That you understand that there is an underlying intelligence that is at work in everything and every form that we see all around us. And that is a powerful revelation as far as I'm concerned. That's what the study of sacred geometry helped me to understand. And I think if people take it up as a study, they'll see the value in it in a big way.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. So, you have anything else for us? Anything else you want to comment or question?
Yes. It's just that it just makes you wonder about the current state of mainly in modern Western society with the buildings that we inhabit, the modern architecture. Like I don't know about you or if it's just like me being subjective, but I find modern architecture so incredibly dull, bland,
Yes.
and ugly, and it just has no spiritual significance to me.
It's
Whereas,
almost bereft of any type of spirit. It's almost bereft of any kind of real value aesthetic. Aesthetic of any value whatsoever. It's sad that that's the direction that in design and building we are moving compared to some of the wonders that our ancestors and those who came before them made. Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. All you have to do is like take a trip down to Washington D.C., walk around there for a little while if you want to get really depressed. You'll see architecture that is devoid of any soul. You know.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been lucky enough to travel to well, I'm currently in the UK, but I have been lucky enough to travel to to the Mediterranean. So I've been to Italy, and I've been to Rome, and I've seen like the ancient structures, and it just has a like upon witnessing it for the first time, it just grabs you. It just I don't know. It's just a really amazing feeling. It just makes you wonder like how were they able to build such magnificent structures?
Sure. I mean,
But yeah,
they took it upon themselves as a labor of love, and it was to communicate what was possible, and convey, the power of the imagination to create. You know, we don't even see building in the same way as that today. It's a lost art form. And it's something that really has a deep effect energetically, in the field of energy around us. It has a very, very profound and deep effect to those of us who are walking around amongst it. And this is what a lot of people don't see. They don't see that, there's a connection not only between us as human beings and the connection between us and other life forms, all the animals in the animal kingdom around us, but there's a connection just with our environment in general, whether it be part of the natural environment or part of the environment that we build, through whatever building architecture and styles that we want to bring into the world of creating man-made structures. That all has an effect on the energy around us continually. And again, that's a very deliberate thing that a lot of the engineers of our society use to put us into a certain mind frame, a certain state of mind, because they understand this energetic interaction between our bodies and even the architecture around us in our environment. So very great points that you bring up regarding architecture and sacred geometry and aesthetics in general. I couldn't agree more. So let's go to some other callers. Let's hear from Lex 93 Rex, I should say. Sorry, Lex 93 Rex. You're live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome.
Hello, Mark. Can you hear me?
There he goes. Yes, I can. Welcome to the show.
All right, great. Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you, Mark.
Thank you.
Yeah, my name's Diego. I'm from Minneapolis.
Okay.
And I had a couple things I wanted to say today on the show. The first thing being with natural law. So with, in my life, I kind of experienced natural law firsthand, kind of like you, Mark. So when I heard the natural law seminar, it was really, it was just really enlightening, to say the least.
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. And I had a revelation recently, and because for some people it's hard to get their head around natural law in general, right? So
for most, I would say it is.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a certain level of what I would consider some innate intelligence from a simple holistic intelligence perspective to really accept how certain laws of creation function. There are people who just want reality to be the way they believe or want it to be, but they don't want to do any kind of real introspection or deep penetrating analysis onto how it actually functions or how it actually is. They would just prefer to, see it as they want to see it. And that's solipsism, or that's, it's wishful thinking. It's magical thinking. It's dreaming in a bad way. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not using the imagination to create something that could be better. It's saying, I want to imagine things that aren't as they really are. And when we do that, the danger in doing it is if you don't understand where we are, you don't understand what is going to be required to get from here to there. To get to your destination, your stated destination, you need a coordinate system to understand where you're at in order to get to where you say you want to be. And if you're not looking at honestly at where we're at, very difficult to get to where you say you want to be.
Yes. And recently I've been telling people, so there's laws that govern all parts of our lives, all studies, all physical things, and then all whatever, in physics, there's all the laws and stuff. So I've been telling people, why would you think that there wouldn't be laws that govern over this spiritual realm?
That's right. Down to, think about it, down to every last subatomic element in the physical domain. People will accept from the Newtonian worldview position that every one of those particles unwaveringly follows the physical laws of dynamics and quantum mechanics. However, we are made up of those same particles. All the matter of our bodies and brains made up of those same particles. Yet somehow our behavior is the one thing that escapes the laws of creation. There is nothing that governs that, nothing that brings to us the consequences in the experiences that we undergo, what we have done. No, we're exempt. Okay, that doesn't affect us. Okay, because our will is the highest thing in creation. There's nothing that could possibly govern our personal will to behave however we want. That's what people believe. That's how in ego they are. They're so deeply entrenched in ego. And this is why, I'll reiterate, why in the mystery traditions of old, of the ancient world, if you told the teachers as a potential initiate entering the school that you did not accept that there was something of higher order intelligence and power than man, you were not admitted into the mystery tradition in any tradition on earth of occultism, of mystery school thinking, and the communication of the type of knowledge that was held by these schools and teachers. You would not be admitted. And to this day, most of them that are still in operation, like Freemasonry, Rosicrucianism, Thelemic schools, they will not take someone in who does not acknowledge that there is a higher power than man. Because their ego would be so large to deny that every other aspect of creation is governed by law except mankind. We're just exempt. The level of ego that one would have to be in to accept that totally erroneous position is so colossal that they would be considered practically unteachable. And they would basically say, the only thing that we cannot help you. We cannot take you out of that condition. The only thing that can is for you to suffer enough. That is how they would be dismissed. That's how they'd be shown the door. Okay? Out the door, out to the porch, down the steps, and away you go. And maybe if you suffer enough in life, you will come to realize that your position is completely erroneous and untenable. And I would say most people who work themselves into that condition, most people die in that condition, sadly. Not all, but some people come out of it. But the people who eventually come out of that position do so because they've suffered so tremendously that they've been taken right to the brink of the passage between life and death. And somehow, some force nudged them to the side of life and said, you have to reevaluate your position and your mindset and the whole state of your mind and heart in general, the state of your soul. And they did enough work to get nudged into that place where they can then start to open up and receive the knowledge in a deeper way. So great call. I want to thank you for that. Let's move on to Liberty or Death. Liberty or Death, you're live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome.
Hey, Mark, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, loud and clear.
Wow, I just got to say it's an honor to be able to finally speak with you.
Pleasure is mine. What do you have for us today?
I'd like to just give some insight of sort of what I've observed as someone who's studying natural law, mind control, while also being a student within the Prussian outcome-based education model.
Okay.
It seems like
it's got to be a tough position to find yourself in the modern day.
Oh man, trust me, it is. Like, people think reading is something embarrassing.
Wow.
Sorry, Mark, I'm just a little nervous.
No, that's okay. Just take your time.
My call.
Yeah. So what has been your experience? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, something I've noticed, it seems like what they're doing is presenting these watered down versions of the satanic tenets under the guise of objective science.
Interesting. And
like,
are you seeing a lot of like moral relativism in that sense? Selfishness, moral relativism, even perhaps eugenics?
Yeah, exactly. Like, as like an anecdote, like in my social studies class, we had to do this activity where we were essentially, you create your own government, do like this mock auction where you bid on what the rights of your citizens would be. Like, raise your hand if you want your citizens to have the right to free speech or the right to put a certain substance into their body. Like, they're propagating these ideas of moral relativism, like,
as if it's just a consensus thing. And it's like, if you think that should happen, then it's a good idea, or it's somehow acceptable to just be the arbiters of those rights. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. So when it was my turn to present, I just said, rights are inherent in nature and they cannot be delegated or revoked by man. And
That's right.
I got an F, of course.
You got an F for
Yep.
saying that rights don't come from human beings, and human beings cannot grant rights or revoke rights that exist naturally. You were failed in your
Yep,
class.
I got a big fat F, Mark. I was surprised, but not really surprised.
Well, this is where we're headed. We're headed into an induction, an initiation into Satanism. That's what is really taking place in the modern world, particularly in the university system. It's unbelievable. I really feel for you in that sense. It's unbelievable that this is actually happening in modern so-called education systems, which are nothing but government indoctrination camps. That's what they are.
It's like this this whole occult concept of man becoming God and then creating the masses within his own image.
That's right.
The only way they can create this new world order, or this dark new world order, as you've said before, is if they sell us the watered down versions of their own belief systems.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what they're doing in this school system.
Oh, well, phenomenal call. I thank you for making me, aware that is taking place to that extent. That is very disconcerting and outright frightening. If you really hear what that caller just said, they are literally teaching the value system of Satanism in modern schools, in the so-called modern education system. And the moral relativism that they are making their students indoctrinated into is rampant moral relativism, and telling them human beings get to decide what rights are. They don't exist. There's no natural component of rights. It's not like the behavior exists in nature and therefore the qualities of the behavior also exist in nature. So if they cause harm to someone else, that is a naturally occurring event in the natural world. And that is why rights are actions that don't cause harm to other sentient beings. Okay? This simple logical definition of right is being ruled out in favor of putting emotions on a pedestal above logic, reason, and the natural world. And that's what this all ultimately is. This is in your mind wanting to become God and become the arbiter of reality, not looking at reality as it actually is. Again, the distinction between the real or the natural and the artificial or constructural. Okay, and they are supporting and propping up the constructural and artificial over the real, the natural, that is which is actually inherent to the universe, to creation. It is Satanism. This is a lower level form of Satanism. And again, as the caller said very rightly, what the real controlling, quote, elite class, I say we shouldn't be calling them the elite. They're not the elite of anything but the bottom of a damn trash can. The slime that gathers on the bottom of a trash can is what they're the elite of. Okay. But the existing entrenched global ruling powers have to inculcate people into a lower level variant of the satanic religion, of the satanic mindset, in order to control them. And that's what they're doing through the university system. So I'm sorry that has been your experience, but it's very telling about what's really happening in the realm of so-called education. Let's move on to, let's go to Josh. Let me see if I can get the name right. Josh Gutjar? Gutjar? Josh Gutjar.
Yeah, it's Gutjar.
Gutjar.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Welcome to What on Earth is Happening.
Oh, wow. It's I just want to say it's an honor to be talking with you. I've been listening to you for about like 2 years now. So
excellent.
I didn't think I'd have a chance to be able to speak with you today, but
well, I'm trying to randomize calls as much as possible, so people I'm sure will be surprised when I just get to them, because I'm just pretty much doing it randomly to try to just shuffle it around a bit.
Right. So I watched your seminar on natural law and another one on the tarot cards.
Yes.
And I had a question I've been reading the tarot for about like 6 months now, and I've been studying a lot more.
Okay.
And I think it's been able to show me more on natural law and how like things really do work in this world. And my question is like, now I've been able to see a lot more of like the issues in our society and in the world with how people are asleep and they don't generally understand common sense.
Right.
Do
Without
you
a
think,
doubt.
right? And do you think that everyone will be called to the truth either in this life or the next? Like, do you think eventually it's going to happen where we're all going to wake up in the form of like consciousness and this isn't how it's going to be forever?
Right. Well, I would say that most definitely there's going to be a call to quote truth at some point for all individuals, because it doesn't matter. Nobody is going to live forever in this domain, in the physical body. Everything that lives one day passes away and dies and is recycled into the fabric of creation. And, that process goes on and on. So at some point, all of us are going to reunite with Source, however way you want to look at that. So we're all going to eventually get it, quote unquote. The question is whether we will get it in the physical domain here on Earth, okay, as a people, and be able to move our species to a higher level of awareness in consciousness, and then eventually inform in the 3D realm. That's what I think our birthright is. That's the birthright that's being withheld from us by the sorcerer priest class that is basically has us under their thumb right now. Okay, so will we accomplish the goal of creating a true free society as a human species, and then moving to the next level as a species? See, we're not even a type 1 civilization on the Kardashev scale that measures civilization development. Okay, we're a type 0, which means that we basically get our energy from burning things and exploding things. Okay, type 1 civilization will have harnessed true free energy, and will start to use their the geothermal energy of their planet, and harnessing the energy that comes to the planet from its star, our sun. And then we'll move on from there and become intermediate between type 1 and 2, where we'll start exploring the solar system and eventually become at some point a type 2 civilization, which is much more advanced. Some people have speculated that maybe a type 2 civilization is what's really controlling our type 0. Okay, that may be how advanced they are. Whether you want to see it as advanced human beings, advanced in ancient occult psychology, or possibly potentially an extraterrestrial civilization that is of a much higher order of technological intelligence than us, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference which one is controlling our civilization. The solution is always the same: non-compliance with the evil, by stopping doing behaviors that we don't have the right to do, which is what aligning our behavior with natural law is all about. They cannot get this control done without our compliance. So, really great call. That it's the whole thing is all about how we ultimately have to change our mindset. If we don't change our mindset, nothing in the external domain is going to change. Okay? And this is what I continuously reemphasize with my work. We have to do the work upon ourselves through the study of whatever system of correspondences we're using. You alluded to tarot. There are many others. You can study Rosicrucianism and its symbols. You can study Freemasonry and its symbols. You can study Kabbalah, which is considered one of the roots, or if not the root, of the Western mystery traditions. And all these systems of correspondences are ultimately designed to do is to bombard the mind and the brain with all of these correspondences and symbols and allegories to a point where your left brain chatter of blah, 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 do this, do that, oh, don't, listen here, I'll go over here. Boom. At some point, it says, stop. Don't completely shut off, but stop the chatter. This is what I talked about when I talked about the modalities of thought, okay? Concentration for linear focus. then meditation, for being able to stop the mind from the chatter, then contemplation, the daydreaming state where we put it all together and we go into a truly imaginative, creative process. Okay? We have to engage in all of those. When we have a system of correspondences, allegories, and symbols to combine those modalities of consciousness with, then it becomes a powerful tool. It's a system that it operates as a tool upon the mind to focus the mind, to allow the mind to empty when it's required, to be still and to allow new things to come in, and then to be imaginative and creative and daydream and play with different thoughts. Okay, all of these modalities are necessary and required. None should be placed on a pedestal upon the other. And this is what we've lost, these modalities of thought. Some people can't focus. Some people can't stop the mind. Some people can't be imaginative and creative and daydream. We have, in some ways or another, we're so out of balance that we cannot engage in these modalities of thoughts as a holistic, cohesive unit, which is what our mind is supposed to be. We're fractured. We are segmented within ourselves. Okay, and the processes that I'm talking about, when you really study the occult, when you really study the psychology of self, it's all there to bring that all back together. So that it all functions cohesively. And when we do that, then we're in the proper modality for reception of truth. That's what the root of the Western mysteries is about. Okay. The Western mystery traditions, as opposed to the Eastern traditions, which are more about going deeper into self and awareness and pure consciousness, they are to be able to put the body and mind in a state of reception of truth, okay? And then focus it even more after the reception of the truth to be able to then put the truth out there for others to receive. To focus it and hone it even more and put it in a way that is easily receivable and understandable, and then help to disseminate it. Okay? So that's what the root system Kabbalah actually means as a word. Okay? I'm going to be talking about this in Demystifying the Occult Revisited in Acapulco. The Kabbalistic tradition, one of the most powerful, very misunderstood by many people. Okay, as is most of all, if not all of the occult is completely misunderstood. And what we have to understand is that it means literally, that the word Kabbalah literally means, and in its correct connotation, it means to receive properly. It doesn't just mean to receive. It means to properly receive, to be in the state of mind that is optimal for the reception of truth, is what the Kabbalah actually helps us to do. And that's also tarot is part of that tradition. It grows out of that tradition. Freemasonry, Rosicrucianism, they all grow out of that tradition, even Thelema. Okay, so I'm very glad that you have gained a good understanding of some of the world of the occult, and I highly recommend people to study that and make that one of the endeavors that they want to personally move into a deeper understanding of in their own time. So thank you for that call. Patty Lager. Patty, welcome to What on Earth is Happening.
Hi, can you hear me?
How you doing? Yes, I can. I called on you last week. I think there was a tech glitch. Haven't heard from you in a very long time. I met Patty when I gave my Streetwise Spirituality lecture out in St. Louis back in 2014.
Yes.
How have you been?
I have been wonderful, and I'm glad that you've been doing well. Very busy, and we are so happy that you're back on the air sharing your wisdom. I wanted to say a couple of things. First of all, the caller that you had that is at the university and received the F, it breaks my heart. I am a college professor, and you know that there's so much at the college level that I see, and I'm ready to be fired for something really good, that comes my way when I actually speak back to the administration, because they're really coming down on this mind control agenda. And, one of the big themes in universities is diversity. They're really pushing this diversity agenda, trying to promote what is diverse thought, but they're limiting what that is. So you can be diverse, but only to a certain extent. And if you don't fall into the box of what they consider to be diverse, then, would they ever accept the diverse thought that we bring forth as anarchists or as ethical vegans. I mean, is that a diverse thing that is accepted? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, their whole system is designed to limit thought, not encourage more diversification of thought. It is there as a boundary condition to help put consciousness in a prison, to put it in a box, and say only that which we have determined is on limits for consumption and exploration is that which you may take in. But if we've determined this is off limits for human consumption and integration into their mindset, then they're going to vehemently and in a very regimented way attack anything that goes against their paradigm that they are trying to instill in people. And see, that's the opposite of education. Education means to lead out of darkness toward the light. And if you are saying, I'm going to shelter you from any particular system of knowledge that is out there, or even opinions that are out there, then you are limiting consciousness and putting it in a box, okay? Now, that isn't to say that you can't take the position, this isn't correct, or, I'm not going to support this, okay? But to say you can't even think it, you can't even express it, we'll fire you or throw you out or fail you for even expressing something that is antithetical to what they're trying to teach or to say, is just going into that realm of total censorship. I don't want anybody censored. I would rather have more speech where people are saying, here, you're wrong, but I'm going to tell you why you're wrong, and then you could debate it and talk about it, okay? But when, certain things that I think are done deliberately just to make researchers look like, complete asinine and silly, they're out there for PSYOP reasons too. So there are things that I would say, people should be very careful in their discernment about, to learn how to understand that this is a psyop or that this is not really the case or true. We can't just believe everything that other people say either. It works both ways. These people are closed-minded and don't, especially the left, that they don't even want to have the dialogue. Okay. Regardless of what you think of certain researchers, they're sitting down with people and saying, even if you're on the left, or even if you're in these systems, these university systems, will you even engage in a dialogue with us, with people who don't share your worldview? Okay, either as people who are on the quote political right, if you want to even look at this ridiculous left-right paradigm, or with people who are actual real anarchists who look at this from a purely moral perspective. They don't even want to have a discussion about it. That's what a religion is. A religion is saying, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want the discussion to take place. Okay, and my belief is correct, even though I can't really even lay it out in a logical, reasonable way with reason and logic and thought. I engage in it in a purely emotional perspective, and anybody that opposes that, I'm going to look at as the enemy. I mean, that's not teaching. That's not educating. That's not leading anybody out of darkness and explaining to them why something works the way that it does, and proving that through examples and repetition, and proving it through observation, repeatedly being able to observe the way something works. That's just spouting a religious thought. You know what I mean? And then expecting other people to graft onto it and integrate it into their mindset, and then don't ever oppose it. I mean, there can be no better definition of religion, and that's what our universities and school systems are turning into. They are turning into cults, religious cults. They're not places of real learning. Is that what you're experiencing in the university system as well?
Yes, I really am. And I teach a lot of students going into medicine, into allopathic medicine. And I myself have actually started my own college course of anatomy and physiology. And I'm doing a weekly podcast for people going into natural healing.
Fantastic.
And I'm trying to put forth this true health agenda and helping people see that simplicity and truth are really where health is.
That's right.
These allopathic doctors, and I did go to medical school, and I was in that system, and I saw just how insane it was, just how dangerous it was that people are given chemotherapy and radiation for innocuous disorders. I mean, it's harming people more than it's helping. And so a lot of my students are going into this system, but I'm really trying to get them to think critically. For instance, I just had one of my students email me about the necessity of removing lymph nodes during cancer treatment. And they do that with the thought that they're going to get the cancer out of them more quickly, but really the lymph nodes contain the immune cells that are actually killing the cancer cells. So by removing all of these lymph nodes, you're creating more of a problem. And that's what I see more commonly in medicine. But anyway, I'm trying to put that forth. And
Patty,
I know
that's really fantastic news that you're actually engaged in the great work by putting this out in a podcast. I want to give you the opportunity to plug your work, tell people your website or where your podcast can be found, because I trust that you. I know your whole mindset, and I know that you're putting out good, trustworthy information. So feel free to go ahead and plug it.
Well, thank you very much. My website is Patty Lager, PATTYLAGND for naturopathic doctor. .com.
I'm sorry,
and I'm doing.
You got cut off a little bit there. It's Patty Lager MND, PATTYLAGER ND.com. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And I do Facebook Live. I'm doing it now on Sunday evenings. I specifically changed the time, so I'm doing it after the podcast because I don't want to miss this one. And I start at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Great.
And it's Facebook Live. You guys can get to my Facebook channel. It's the same name.
Fantastic. Patty, thank you so much for the call, and thank you for doing the work and putting information out there for others. That's what this is all about, folks. It's about engaging. It's about getting involved. All right, we're running short on time. Let's go on. I'm going to go to Ivan from Phoenix. Ivan, welcome to What on Earth is Happening. What do you have for us this week?
Hey, Mark, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, loud and clear.
All right. As usual, I have a couple of quick notes here, and I'm glad to see last week you did, on one of your slides, you put government on there, and you did put a distinction between external government and internal government.
That's
we
right.
had this conversation before. That's
right.
Yeah, it's implied when we say government is mind control that we're talking about external institutions. However, for some of the initiates, we do need to distinguish, because then they think, oh, government's bad. Well, wait, mind control, you want to control your own mind. So you want internal government. So I wanted to remind people of that.
And true internal government means if there is no externally imposed government, we are ultimately controlling the things that we are allowed to control, our own thoughts, our own emotions, our own actions, okay? And if we have that kind of internal composed self-government, all external government is completely unnecessary, okay? Therefore, we have to work upon ourselves to do that great work of coming into monarchy as an individual, one ruler of the kingdom of self. Okay. Exactly. So yes, these terms can be used interchangeably like that. When we talk about government being slavery, of course, we're referring to externalized, imposed, coercive, violent government. Okay. But yes, the word government in and of itself can apply to internal government. Again, if we choose not to govern ourselves in the right way according to natural law principles, there are always going to be external forces that are going to swoop in and externally impose their form of coercive and violent government upon us. And that's why it's so important to do the work upon the self. That's what the great work, that's the beginning of the great work.
Exactly. All right. And then my usual thing, movies. Last week we were gonna maybe talk about Glass, but I wanted to put that out there for those who haven't seen that. That's the third part, the end trilogy for M. Night Shyamalan's Unbreakable, Split, and now Glass. That has a lot of spoilers, so if people haven't seen that yet, get out there and see it, because there are quite a few twists at the end that bring up a lot of things that we as de-occultists are very familiar about. I'm glad to see it in theaters. It brought a tear to the eye, and a lot of people either like Shyamalan's films when they get it, and a lot of people don't like it. And then another film came out this weekend, Serenity. That a spoiler for that is kind of like a Matrix kind of movie, because the trailers do not give you any idea of what actually is going on. And there's a very excellent quote in that movie that I wrote down real quick that it's truth for us. It goes, everybody knows everything, but nobody knows what's going on. And that was so profound. Yes, we have all the Facebooks, the Twitters, the YouTubes. You sneeze at a certain time and it's caught on video. Everybody knows what's, everything, but no one knows what's actually going on. And then really quick, taking it back to last year, if everyone's seen the Avengers Infinity War, there was a caller that mentioned something about architecture and the energies and how everything's bland and all that.
Sure.
And that brought to mind the movie Avengers Infinity War because of the external energies. I think that film was almost a sequel to like 9/11 because
Ivan, we're coming down to the end of the show. I think your allegorical analysis of movies in the modern world is so on point. I'm going to have to talk to you about maybe coming onto the One Great Network and doing a whole segment or some type of a live stream there about allegorical movie breakdowns. I think you would be phenomenal at it. I think it's something that we have to talk about, and I want to see if you're willing to consider doing that when we bring the network online. That's all the time we have for this edition of What on Earth is Happening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you right here next week. Thanks for listening. Government is slavery.